Okay, so today I am here to clear up the metaphysical blunder of Islam. They don't understand what we mean when we say essence and what we mean when we say personal relation. They don't understand that there is a creator-creature distinction, and they don't understand that existence cannot be divisible, meaning that the essence of God, which is identical to existence, cannot be divisible, which is distinct from the creation because the creation is bound by universals and particulars. So this is like the big blunder. So I'm going to kind of start this off by showing the transcendental necessity of existence not being able to be divided, which is very, very, very simple. Okay. Existence, right, is reality. There's not multiple realities. Therefore, there cannot be many different distinctions in reality being essential, meaning that reality as being the mind of God, as being the substance, the uncia, can't actually be essentially divided. Because if it could be essentially divided, that would mean it'd be a particular. And if it's a particular, that means it's not God because it's dependent upon the universal. Now, here's the category issue that most Muslims make because they don't understand how we parse through these issues. So what he's going to bring up today, right, and this thesis is going to be like threefold. What he's going to bring up is like aliveness is law. He's going to like make blunders about the creator-creature distinction. He's going to make blunders about the identity of indiscernibility. He doesn't actually understand what the identity of indiscernibility is and how it's categorically dependent. So what we're going to see is all these blunders. We're going to see how he doesn't understand that there's one substance, one existence, one essence, one God, one being with three subsistence relations. Now, here's the issue. The issue is very, very, very simple. The mode of subsistence or the way of subsistence does not change the content of subsistence. I'm going to say it again. This is the thesis of the entire dialectic. The mode of subsistence, meaning the way of subsistence, does not change the content of subsistence. Meaning there is one essence, one being, one God with three relational distinctions. And that's how we actually can ground knowledge. That's how we actually can ground love. That's how we actually can ground truth. That's why we know that these things are like, metaphysically necessary, given the fact that this triune God actually has to have the capability to ground these different things that require relational distinction. So this is just very, 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 very simple, right? At the root of the issue, he doesn't understand that we count dependent upon categories, meaning that when you apply the same counting methodology in your metaphysics to that which is concrete, fundamental, and ultimate, which is God, it doesn't actually logically follow. And so what we're going to see here, again, I'm going to make this very, very clear. I want you guys in the chat to really pay attention to what we're going to see in this dialogue. What we're going to see is Islamic apex constantly conflate essence with personal relation. I'm going to say it again. What we're going to see is him constantly conflate essence with personal relation. Essence is what a thing is. The personal relation is who, meaning the subsistence of origin within that what. So we have three subsistences of origin, meaning the Father eternally begots the Son, and the Holy Spirit proceeds from the Father and the Son, but this doesn't actually affect the divine essence. It doesn't make the divine essence composite because, again, the way that something exists does not change how it actually exists. This is just very, 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 very important. So, again, I still have like 3 minutes and I've gotten a lot out. That's just going to be the main blunder, guys. It's a metaphysical blunder. It's been going around for a very, very long time. We're not modalists. We don't believe that there's one person operating in different modes. We don't believe there's three gods because they claim there are three gods. When we count anything in the creation, there's going to be some sort of essential distinction because of the principle of individuation. All the principle of individuation states is that for any discrete set of particulars, that which is the universal, the particulars are going to be dependent upon, but each discrete set of particulars is going to have something about them that actually makes them be able to be discernible, given the fact that they actually exist in a different way, right? Meaning that because everything in the creation is not identical to existence, God is purely act, which all that simply means is that everything that God is, right, or everything that God has, he's identical to, meaning that the essence that is identical to existence, because essence is indivisible, right? You can't actually say that there's three gods because that would mean that existence is divisible. So again, the main blunder, guys, it just happens when we don't understand the creator-creature distinction. We don't understand how to actually count in relation to essence versus personal relational distinction, and we conflate these two categories under Leibniz's law, which it wouldn't actually follow, because that which is fundamental and ultimate has to have the category set to actually ground isness. Now, I still have 2 minutes. I'm wondering if I should yield my time because I think I just very clearly, articulate, very clearly, it's just destroyed the multiple blunders. But again, guys, it's just very simple. We serve one God. We serve one being, right? There's one substance, right? And so, in closing here, right? There's three persons, not three beings. There's three relations, not three substances. Okay. There is three hypostases, not three existences. There are three relational distinctions within one existence. We serve one God. One God, guys. One God. That's what we serve. We don't serve three gods. Okay. We don't serve 99 gods. We don't serve two gods. We don't serve 8 gods. God, by definition, and in telling his necessary property set, because God is metaphysically primary, right? God has to be one. You cannot divide existence. However, in order to ground things like God's love, right? Because love is not grounded intrinsically, because that would mean that you're a narcissist, right? There has to be some relational distinction in God. Now, that relational distinction does not make the essence composite, because the mode of which something subsists does not change the contents of its subsistence. So it doesn't make the essence composite. We affirm absolute divine, but we don't affirm this composite composer bullcrap. We affirm one God, one essence, one substance, one uncia, one existence, one divine consciousness with 3 distinct relations. I yield my time. God bless again. The entire time, all you guys will see is just blunders and conflating basic metaphysics and creator distinction.
Thank you very much. So that was Q-Top's opening. Thank you so much, Q-Top, for that opening. We are going to go ahead with the opening on Islamic Apex's side. Just wait for that. All right, let me just set the time here for myself. By the way, guys, I'm not debating. It's Q-Top and Islamic Apex debating today. 7 minutes on the clock. Let me just make sure I get that. 1 second. All right. Ready when you are, Apex. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Just let me know.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go ahead.
Bismillah. والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اتبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. Today we're going to show why the Christians have lied on Al-Masih ibn Maryam alayhi salatu wassalam, the Messiah, son of Mary, claiming that he's God and that he is God with the Father and the Spirit, creating a triunity, and that therefore it's one God due to the fact that they share one essence. And what we're going to be demonstrating here today is that logically it follows, and that you cannot really evade the logical problem of the Trinity. And we're going to demonstrate that using 2 arguments. Let's start off by first, discussing the logic of counting, right? How is monotheism measured? Firstly, the foundation, which is counting and logic, obviously. To say that there is one God requires a logical system of counting. The classical counting method, which is also identified as a CCM, is the universal way humans count and discern things or distinguish things. Counting depends on 2 axioms. We have the axiom number 1, which is distinct units. That is defined as for any 2 counted things, they must be really distinct, meaning X and Y, they are distinct and they are not each other. Axiom 2 is the class. Counting happens within a type. To count apples, each must truly be an apple. Let's start with the first argument, which is the classical counting method argument, the CCM. For all x, this is premise 1, by the way, we're going to give it in a syllogistic matter. Premise 1, for all x and y, if x is God and y is God, then x just is y. This is the formal regimentation of monotheism under classical counting method, the CCM. Premise 2, if Jesus is God and the Father is God, then Jesus just is the Father. That follows from premise 1. Premise 3, Jesus is not identical to the Father, and that's obviously the Trinitarian claim. Premise 4, Jesus is God and the Father is God, which is also the Trinitarian claim. And then premise 5, or which is actually conclusion 1, therefore Jesus is identical to the Father. That is modus ponens, following from premise 2 and 4. Premise 6, therefore Jesus, or actually conclusion 2 here, therefore Jesus is identical to the Father, and Jesus is not identical to the Father. That's in conjunction with premise 3 and 5, leading to a contradiction. And then another conclusion is, therefore, it is not the case that both Jesus is God and the Father is God can be true under the CCM, which is the classical counting method, and that comes from premise 6 by reductio. Conclusion number 4, therefore, to reject premise 1, it is to deny either monotheism or the CCM method itself, which is just a metalogical conclusion, and this would mean that he is denying the classical counting method, which is the universal way in which we count, or he accepts the contradiction, meaning denying monotheism. So now, first let's give an example, right? Counting apples or counting oranges or anything, right? Suppose that there's a world in which it exists within it exactly one apple. X is truly an apple and Y is truly an apple. But X is not Y. Either we have two apples which deems this worldview false, or we have a contradiction where X is the apple and not the apple, which is just P and not P. That's a performative contradiction. So now, let's move on to the next argument. This argument is the multiple essences argument. If we say that for all X and Y, if X and Y share the same essence, then X and Y share the same set of essential properties. That is an analytic truth. If the Father and the Son share the same essence, then the Father and the Son share the same exact set of essential properties. That follows from premise 1. If the Father is essentially paternal and the Son is not essentially paternal, then the Father has the essential property of paternity and the Son does not have the essential property of paternity. That's an analytic truth. The Father is essentially paternal and the Son is not essentially paternal. Conclusion 1, therefore the Father has the essential property of paternity and the Son does not have the essential property of paternity. The inference rule for that is modus ponens, coming from 3 and 4. Premise 3 and 4. If the Father has the essential property of paternity and the Son does not have the essential property of paternity, then it is not the case that the Father and the Son share the same set of essential properties. That is also an analytic truth. And for those who are wondering, an analytic truth is a truth that is true by definition. Conclusion 2, therefore, it is not the case that the Father and the Son share the same set of essential properties. That is modus ponens from premise 5 and 6. Conclusion 3, therefore, it is not the case that the Father and the Son share the same essence, and that is modus tollens, coming from premise 2 and 7, and that the conclusion essentially is detrimental and it's a reductio ad absurdum, because it is essentially saying that the Father and the Son, they have different essences, therefore they are not the same God. So let's give a simple example to everyone, right? Let's say John and Barley. They share a common human nature, but John has some properties that are essential to his being that are not essential to Barley's being. Hence, John and Barley have two distinct sets of essential properties, henceforth two beings. In simple terms, same essence simply means the same essential properties, because we define essence as a set of essential properties. The Father and the Son, they share the same essence, meaning they share the same essential properties. The Father is essentially paternal. The Son is not, therefore they do not share the same set of essential properties. So now I'm going to actually sneak in one more argument, and I think this is the most hard-hitting one or detrimental one. The triunity argument, essentially the argument from transitivity, it essentially goes as it follows like this. First, we need to put the overview as the Trinity is a true predicate of the only true God, which is just defined as existential uniqueness. It is existentially unique insofar as it being three persons, one God, same essence, etc. Premise 1, if there exists exactly one X, such that X is God and X is triune, then for any Y, if Y is God, Y is triune. Premise 2, there exists exactly one X, such that X is God and X is triune. Conclusion 1, therefore for any Y, if Y is God, then Y is triune, modus ponens, coming from premise 1 and 2. Premises 1 and 2. Premise 4, if Jesus is God, then Jesus is triune. That follows from premise 3, if accepted. Premise 5, Jesus is not triune. Conclusion, therefore Jesus is not God. That is modus tollens, coming from premise 4 and 5. Let's give a simple example real quick and let's switch the variables. If there exists one X, such that X is an orange and X is orange, the color, then for any Y, if Y is an orange, then the color of it is orange. There exists one orange or one X, such that X is an orange and X is orange, meaning the color, to qualify. Therefore, for any Y, if Y is an orange, Y is the color orange. Can we get the symmetry breaker for that? That is a question that I'm having. And that is the end of my time. And Q-Top can move on to his rebuttal. And then after that, I'll continue on with my rebuttal. Thank you.
All right, that's time. Thank you so much, Islamic Apex, for that introduction. We are now done with both introductions, 7 minutes for each interlocutor. And we will be moving on to our next section, which is our rebuttal. We'll only have one rebuttal for each interlocutor, 5 minutes each. Starting with Q-Top, the floor is all yours, sir. 1 second, let me just set the timer here for 5 minutes for myself. Give me a moment. All right, ready when you are. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, so after conceptually unpacking some of the things that Islamic Apex raised, yeah, dude, great question. These things have been like discussed in like classical Trinitarian metaphysics for a while now. It's very, very simple. So to kind of summarize everything he's saying again, in my opening statement, I said there's going to be like some really big blunder in us conflating like essence and personal relations. It is just the case that there's one essence with three subsistences. Okay, and so this wouldn't actually change anything. I don't actually know like why he thinks that somehow he critiqued my opening statement, which was that, hey, there's just one essence with three subsisting relations. Now let's actually get to like substance here. As I said earlier, right, there's just some really big blunder. For some reason, like these counting methods that he's invoking here, given like absolute identity, all he thinks is that he can like apply the same like metaphysical prerequisites in the creation to the creator. Now, I already like parsed this out, but I parse it out again. It's his first like big thing was like, look, dude, you're counting incorrectly. You're counting by division, and we only count things by identity. Well, look, that's just not the case. Like you can count by division. So like, for instance, if I have a bagel and I cut the bagel, in half, I don't just like suddenly have like 2 bagels now, right? So this is like just very, very simple. I don't know why there's just like blunder being made here. When we count by division in terms of the Trinity, all we're saying is like, look, this would just be a disposition to the relational distinction. So I don't know why this is like so automatic. But again, I'll move on to like the next one here. So he says, look, for all x, right, if x is identical to y, everything true of x is true of y. Yeah, so Leibniz's law, which he is invoking, was the identity of indiscernibility, which is I brought up earlier. All this is doing is just saying, well, look, given a specific category, right, if we have x and x is truly identical to y, well, then everything true of x is true of y. The blunder here is that personal relations doesn't actually affect essence. So what we mean when we say this is this, that like, look, there's 3 personal subsistences in one essence. The blunder is that he's conflating these two, right? So Leibniz's law is categorically dependent. We don't apply Leibniz's law to 2 distinct categories in which it wouldn't follow. We have essence, which is what something is, and persons, which is who something is. He's trying to combine these 2 categories into one. I don't know why he's doing that. I really don't know why he's doing that. Again, it's a really, really, really big blunder. Then he went through some like logical syllogism. I tried to like type everything out. The summation of that is just very, very confusing. He says, well, look, Jesus is not God because Jesus is not triune. So it seems like he doesn't understand what we mean when we say God. Yo, thank you so much. Log it in with the $10 over on the Apple Cash. Yeah, he says Jesus is not God because Jesus is not triune. So what we mean when we say God is we're talking about like the essence, the uncia, the substance, which is what God is, which is all the properties of God. So God is powerful. God is love. God has a will, right? All these things, right? This is what God is, right? And that like the most fundamental point, right, is that God is existence, meaning that existence in itself is not divisible. The examples that he gave about apples, this is very, very weird. I don't know why he's still comparing the creature to the creator. Apples are created. So when we talk about apples, we have to make a distinction between universals and particulars, right? So a particular is a instantiation of a universal, right? Meaning that the universal is divisible, right? This is the blunder. Like God as being one essence, existence is not divisible. We don't say that the Father is a part of God and that the Son is a part of God and the Holy Spirit is a part of God. We don't say that the Father like has Godhood and the Son has this Godhood and the Holy Spirit has this Godhood in this like divisible way, right? We say that the Father is identical to God. The Son is identical to God. The Holy Spirit is identical to God. However, the distinction comes in their relation to each other, not in their relation to the essence. I don't understand why Muslims do this. Okay, if you are a Muslim, please wake up and smell the coffee. There, something can be distinct in one sense, right, but alike in another sense. This is called impure relative identity, right? And like, I don't know why this is some weird like blunder. People talking about William Lane Craig holding to relative identity. William Lane Craig holds to pure relative identity, not impure relative identity. We say impure relative identity means that we can have a father identical to God, son identical to God, Holy Spirit identical to God, but they're distinct in relation to each other by formal distinction. I yield my time.
All right. 1 second. Let me turn my screen here. All right. Thank you so much, Q-Top, for that first. Wait for this to go on.
Don't be used. I appreciate it.
All right, we got Zeus on the screen. Anyways, thank you so much, Q-Top, for the first rebuttal. I appreciate it. Thank you for also staying on time. Let me pull it up your timer here, Islamic Apex. A second. 5 minutes on the clock. 1 sec. 5 minutes.
Let me know when you got it so I can start.
Yeah, I'll let you know, man. Don't worry. All right. 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
Just before I actually unpack all of the substance, you're going a little too fast, right? Like no one can understand you. I mean, at the end, it sounded like you were lagging a bit. You weren't really like articulating yourself properly, and as you should, because that's not what debate etiquette is, and you're not representing it correctly. To start off, you mentioned that I mentioned identity of discernibles. In fact, it's indiscernibility of identity, right? So that's what Leibniz's law is. He is confused. So Leibniz's law is not identity of discernibles. Leibniz's law is going to be indiscernibility of identity, right? So yeah, I know you're thinking, it's fine. So and to actually address your objections, we're gonna go ahead and look at what I was actually talking about. So I brought I brought how we should understand how to count, right? Which is the CCM, and he claimed that he counts by division, and that, if you cut a bagel, is it 2 bagels? No, it's not really the same thing, right? Because if you were to cut a bagel, it's just going to be one part of a bagel, other part of a bagel. That's not really what we're doing here, and so far in respect to the Trinity, right? So again, I'm going to clear up how we count. There's 2 axioms, distinct units for any count of 2 things. They must be really distinct. The class is going to be counting happens within a type. To count apples, each must truly be an apple. That's an example. Okay, so now with that being said, we understand that when we go to the argument, that is the classical counting method argument, and we understand if we count by identity, we are going to reach 3 gods, and there is no disagreement upon that, right? But let's say that we don't count by division. When we count by division, it still doesn't evade the argument.
I pause the time. Yeah, so I pause the time. If a gift that's not loud comes, it's okay. I'll let it go for both parties. But if a loud gift comes, I'll just pause the time. All right.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, that's fine.
All right, I'm gonna get back. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, thank you. So when we go to the CCM argument, which is a classical counting method argument, right? That which he failed to evade. By the way, he claims that counting by division is the way we count because God is distinct from creation and that he is not a particular nor universal. Therefore, we don't uphold the same counting method, special pleading. So he didn't bring any justification why we should count different for God or gods versus creation. A created being or created beings should not be counted different than how we count God because that is simply special pleading. All you're saying is, oh, well, God is different than us, then therefore we're going to count differently. That's not how things work here. That's not how we count. By the way, I gave 3 syllogisms. I didn't really get a response for any of them, right? I got like, a little bit of, some tangents here, some tangents there, but I really want you to answer this question. If we were to count by identity, would we reach 3 gods? And if we are still counting by division, qualify what you mean by counting by division, right? You don't even have to give a formal definition. I'll accept an ostensive definition, which is simply a definition by example. I'm not going to be too picky on that, to be fair. And one is got it. Okay, go ahead, continue. So I'm gonna read one argument or 2, and I want you to tell me.
1 sec. All right, I'm gonna start it now. You have to wait for me to start it and pause it, bro.
Got you. Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I just want you to address like these arguments. I'm going to read you them one by one again. Tell me which premises you reject and tell me why. So the Trinity argument, if there exists exactly one x, such that x is God and x is triune, then for any y is God, y is triune. Premise 2, there exists exactly one x, domain semantics by the way, such that x is God and x is triune. Premise 3, or conclusion 1, therefore for any y, if y is God, then y is triune, modus ponens. Premise 4, if Jesus is God, then Jesus is triune. Premise 5, Jesus is not triune. Conclusion 2, therefore Jesus is not God. That is one of the arguments that I want you to address. Tell me which premise you reject in our cross-exam. So, the multiple essences argument, for all x and y, if x and y share the same essence, then x and y share the same set of essential properties. Analytic. If the Father and the Son share the same essence, then the Father and the Son share the same exact set of essential properties. If the Father is essentially paternal and the Son is not essentially paternal, then the Father has the essential property of paternity, and the Son does not have the essential property of paternity. Analytic. The Father is essentially paternal, and the Son is not essentially paternal. Conclusion 1, therefore the Father has the essential property of paternity, and the Son does not have the essential property of paternity. Modus ponens. If the Father has the essential property of paternity, and the Son does not have the essential property of paternity, then it is not the case that the Father and the Son share the same exact set of essential properties. Conclusion 2, therefore it is not the case that the Father and the Son share the same set of essential properties, modus ponens. Conclusion 3, therefore it is not the case that the Father and the Son share the same essence. That's modus tollens from premise 2 and 7. I could not read the last one, but we will deal with that in the cross-exam here soon.
You have 30 seconds left. You want to concede that?
Oh, I do? Oh, I didn't even know that. Okay, here, I got you. Yeah. So, the next argument is obviously going to be the, what's it called? I think I read them all. Yeah, so the classical counting method argument. So for all x and y, if x is God and y is God, then x just is y. That's the formal regimentation of monotheism under the CCM. If Jesus is God and the Father is God, then Jesus is just the Father. Jesus is not identical to the Father. Premise 4, Jesus is God and the Father.
Wrap it up, bro. It's done.
Time's up? Okay, cool.
Yeah, time's up. Hey, Q, did a lion come in your time?
Yeah, I mean, something did come in my time.
But
it's okay then.
I didn't notice it, so I'll give you an extra minute in your cross exam. All right. So we'll give Q-Top an extra minute, so we have 26 minutes of cross exam, and then we'll go over to. All right. Yeah, so we'll give him an extra minute for his cross exam. So we have 26 minutes of rapid crossfire. And just remember, if he asks you a yes or no question, unless you have justification for why it's loaded, then please answer with a yes or a no, and you have 40 seconds within that 40 seconds or so to go ahead and qualify your answer. Please make sure you keep it within the 40-second mark. If you go a little bit over here and there, it's fine. But if you do it too much, I'm going to have to stop you. If you're not answering the question, I'm going to have to stop you. All right? So let me just put the 25 minutes here. Second. $25 minutes. Or sorry, 26 minutes. There you go. All right. 3, 2, 1. Floor is yours. Okay. Wait. Let's just wait. All right. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to take this time just to ask some questions about the Trinity. This is just clarifying questions because obviously I'm not critiquing Tawheed. Do you think existence is divisible? Yes or no?
And by existence, you just mean like, like for example, such being that exists. Like that's just like, I'm just wondering what you mean by existence.
No, I'm not mean the being that exists. I mean that which is identical to existence. So the act of being itself, not a particular being that exists.
I don't believe existence is identical to anything. So that question is not
categorical. I'm not asking you if you believe existence is identical to anything. I'm saying, is existence divisible? That's the question I asked you.
Well, I don't know what you mean by existence here.
Yeah, I just explained what I mean. You want me to define it again?
No, you didn't.
I'm just gonna
existence.
I'm gonna pause the time, just so Q doesn't lose his. All right. Yeah. So just in case, as I don't want Q-Top to miss out on his time, so Islamic Apex, while the time is paused, get the clarification you need, and then please answer him with a yes or no.
Yeah, I think you're treating existence like a predicate or a property, in which I don't agree. I believe existence.
Somebody's lagging.
Yeah, he's lagging.
What existence here?
And as you just lagged for the last 8 seconds or so. Yes.
You want me to repeat it?
Go ahead.
Okay, so Q-Top, it sounds like you're taking existence as like a predicate or property. My question is which I don't agree. I believe existence is a quantifier. What is being picked out when you say existence?
Why are you asking? I'm okay.
No,
Pause.
look,
It's a quantifier, sir.
I have the time.
Is it like is he asking me questions? Am I
No,
asking?
no,
Are
no.
we
I
clarifying?
have the time.
I'm asking a qualifier.
No, guys, stop. I have the time paused. So just so you don't get your time wasted, Q, I want him, because he's not answering a yes or no, he wants you to qualify. So I have your time paused so he can understand your question. And as soon as he gets that, I'll restart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I already qualified this. I'll just qualify it again. And by the way, I'll slow down because I think you're not tracking. When I say existence, I mean the act of being. Existence is being itself. So existence is not divisible. I'm asking you if you think it's divisible.
What is act of? I'm sorry. What is act of being? This is just more ambiguous. What is act of being?
So at this point, this is the crux of the entire conversation, and for some reason, he doesn't know what anything means. Yeah, existence. I'm defined. Do you know what the word act is? Do you know what the word act means?
Is that a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, act. I know it's ambiguous though. Like you could be referring to act in the sense that God is one act, or you're acting for a show. You have to flush everything out. I don't think you're trying.
All right. So Q, do you want me to reset your time again?
Yeah, bro. You have to just reset everything because this is like literally the crux of the entire debate, and he just doesn't know what anything means now. Yeah. So
no one
yeah.
understands what you're saying.
I'm gonna start the time again.
I think you don't understand. I don't think you should like guys on the chat.
Guys, stop. All right, we're gonna start the time again. Q, continue with your questions, and Apex, please answer to the best of your ability, yes or no, if it's a straight dichotomy, and the 40 seconds to qualify. All right, I'm starting now.
Yeah, I'm going to ask him the question again. When I say existence, I'm saying the act of being. So when I say existence, I'm saying that which is fundamental. Existence is a being. So I'm asking you if you think that existence as being that which is fundamental can be divisible. Yes or no?
Again, you're not disambiguating very well. I'm going to ask the qualifier again. When you say act of being, what the heck does that pick out? I don't think anyone is understanding what you're saying. I don't think you understand because you're not able to disambiguate.
And as you can't ask him questions. All right, guys. All right. Enes, when you're being questioned, you can't ask him questions. Just answer and say your question doesn't make sense, but don't ask him a question, please.
I'm just qualifying. Just qualifying.
All right. No, you don't get to ask him questions. He asks you the questions. I'm going to start again. Go ahead.
Yeah. I don't know. Like existence is like really, really fundamental. Like nothing can even be true if it doesn't exist. So I'm going to ask him the question again. When I say existence, I mean the act of being. Act of being, like this is like some sort of like essential thing to where like what something is like is identical to that it is. So if something exists, it just means that it actually is. What I'm asking you is, do you think fundamental existence or that which actually is can be divisible? Meaning, do you think that it is a universal that can be divided among particulars?
Okay, that's better. I believe that universals, they aren't necessarily divided, but I would say that particulars, they share a universal. Like for example, we would say trees, all trees share the same universal called treeness, right? So if that's your question, the answer is no. Universals aren't divided. We don't say that. We say that particulars share universals. Like trees, they share the universal of treeness. Does that make sense, Q-Top?
Yeah, so that's not the question that I asked. I'm not asking you like what look. I'll just repeat the question again. Is existence a universal? Okay, is it divisible among particulars? Yes or no?
Again, I don't know what existence picks out here. I'm sorry. I don't believe you're treating existence like a what's it called? Like a property or a predicate. I believe existence is a quantifier.
I'm just gonna look, okay. I'll move on. Is Leibniz's law categorically dependent?
What does categorically dependent pick out?
Yeah. Meaning that it's dependent upon a specific category. Meaning, if we're talking about essences, excuse me, then we're talking about essences, and we're talking about personal relations. Then we're talking about personal relations. Then we're talking about substance. Then we're talking about substance. Meaning that Leibniz's law is dependent upon the category in which it's being invoked. Do you affirm or deny that?
Yeah, it depends what you mean by that. If by that you mean that you can apply Leibniz's law consistently in one subject or in one specific modality, then I would say yes, but you constantly gibberate. Please disambiguate yourself. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think what you call gibberating, I just call you just like running and dodging because you know this destroys your worldview. So again, I'll just go ahead and move on for that because he doesn't know what these words mean. So what's interesting? So do you think it is necessary that which is ultimate and fundamental can account for unity and diversity and ultimacy?
Can you please disambiguate?
Okay, I'm gonna talk very, very slowly because
it's not about being slow. It's
this
just
is like so low tier.
You're
like
vague.
this is guys. This is what happens, right? They suddenly don't know what anything means. So I'm gonna say it very, 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 very clearly for you. Okay. Do you think that God? When I say God, I'm just referring to that which is ultimate, meaning that everything depends upon it as a foundation. And I'm referring to that which is fundamental, which just means it's metaphysically primary. Do you think that thing has to be able to account for unity, meaning things are alike, and diversity, meaning things are different, in ultimacy, which means in its ontology? Yes or no?
Yeah, so thank you for disambiguating your vague question that you just asked prior. So the answer is yes. I believe that God, you could have just said God, but you decided to gibberate, but that's fine. So yeah, God does discern. He does have the ability to discern things, and he does discern things. That's a necessity for God because we see things that are discernible. And he also, there's obviously like unity within the ontology of the things that which exist, depending on the class or what the thing actually is. If they share, the same exact properties, then it's obviously one thing. So yeah, God is aware of the discernibility and the unity of the ontology of what exists, if that's your answer, your question.
I'm not asking you if God is aware. So I thought you said that I actually clarified. Meanwhile, I just said the exact same thing slower, which it seems like that's what I have to do, talk slower for you. So Islamic Apex, you didn't answer my question. So I'll ask the question again. This is an ontological question, not an epistemic question. So this doesn't have to do with perception. I'm using my words very clearly for you, okay? I'm going to ask you the question again. Is it necessary to account for the problem of the one and the many, meaning unity and diversity, that God must possess or be able to, in his own ontology, ground unity and diversity in ultimacy? Yes or no? That's a yes or no question.
And you mean by ultimacy ontology?
I've already said that, yes.
Okay, good. So yeah, we believe that it's necessary for God to, have the ability or to ground the discernibility and the unity of these things. Even though your question's gibberish, I'm just answering based on what I think you're saying, because I don't think you even understand what the hell you're saying, to be respectful. But yeah, if by the gibberish you just said you mean that does God ground discernibility and unity, and by that I think you mean that it's necessary for God to have the ability to discern, because then it would be grounded, then yes, it is necessary. Just please be less vague and disambiguate. I didn't say talk slower, I said disambiguate. There's a difference. Thanks.
Yeah, so I think what you call gibberating, again, I'll repeat my thesis. I think you just either can't intellectually track or you're just disingenuous. And then you do the nervous laughter for cope. So that actually didn't answer my question again, right? I'm asking you an ontological question here. Can you define ontology for us? What does ontology mean?
Ontology is simply just a branch within philosophy that is also just the same as metaphysics. It's exploring the nature of reality. So that's what ontology is. So now that I answered, ask your next question, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, ontology is the nature of being. So that's just you presupposing that reality is a being, which is, yeah, like I would accept that, but that's like actually not like the like academic definition of ontology, by the way. It's a study of being. So so yeah. Ontology being the study of being, okay? I'm asking you about God's being. Is it the case that within God's being, he must necessarily, yes or no, because you keep saying this is ambiguous. I'm not saying anything ambiguous. This is not going to get you out of this. Like just appealing to like ambiguity and just like running around these questions, this isn't going to get you out of anything, okay? Is it the case that in God's ontology, he must necessarily be able to account for unity and diversity, meaning that he must have relational distinction? Yes or no, must God be able to account for unity and diversity? You're not answering my question.
Yeah, before I answer your question, the reason why your question's not answered like this is because to be answered like this, you have to be more stipulative and lexical, which is the complete opposite of
No
what
problem. No
I'm
problem.
I'm responding.
No,
But I'm responding.
Yeah, please actually respond.
Yeah,
That's just like four
Thank
times
you.
now.
No, but I'm talking and I'm responding and you're interrupting. Thank you. So to continue my response, yes, God necessarily has to account for diversity and unity of his ontology, or in regards to it being in his being. Yes, we don't disagree with that. God must account for discernibility or diversity and discernibility, same thing, and unity.
Okay, so is it the case that God must be able to ground this in one essence, meaning that the essence is non-divisible? Yes or no?
Yes, the essence is indivisible.
Yeah, the essence is indivisible. Interesting. We'll discuss more about that in Tawheed. So yeah, we finally got a response to that. So what he just agreed upon is that God must necessarily possess unity and diversity and ultimacy in his ontology. No problem. So now we'll go ahead and we'll definitely be coming back to that during the discussion. Islamic atheists, I find it very interesting. So I want to address some things here because I wrote this down. Can you define what we mean when we say person as pertaining to the Godhead? What do we mean when we say that?
Good. So Peter Van Inwagen in his paper on the Trinity, he defines person as that which that can be addressed, right? Whatever you can address is a person. For example, you're a human, I can address you, therefore you're a person. By the way, guys, Peter Van Inwagen is a Trinitarian, just so you guys know, so you guys don't come at me, all right? So in his paper on the Trinity, he defines person as that which that can be addressed. So anything that which you can address is a person. You can address a dog, the dog is a person.
All right, I'm gonna start the time again here. 3, 2, 1, go.
And so when you say being addressed, does that entail a relational distinction in essence? Like when you say that something is addressed, can we make a categorical distinction of, between that which is addressed being that it's a particular and that which is addressed being that it's a relational distinction in one essence? Do you understand that distinction, yes or no?
Sorry, that was gibberish. Can you disambiguate that?
Okay, it's not going to get you out of this, man. This is not going to get you out of this. I really hope you know that it's not.
Are you going to disambiguate?
Calling everything gibberish is not going to get you out of this. It's just not.
You got to stick.
So if you're not going to answer my questions, this is just going to get really boring. So I'll go ahead and like repeat the question. Right? Because like you're just gonna keep saying what do you mean, and then I can just say, well, like what do you mean by what do you mean? So this is just gonna go nowhere, right? So I'll go ahead and repeat the question. Okay, is there a categorical distinction between a particular and what we mean when we say the person of the Father or the person of the Son or the person of Christ? Is there a distinction between a particular and a person? Yes or no?
Yeah, according to your paradigm, you would say that there is a distinction due to the very fact that the Son and the Father and the Spirit, these three are simply not universals or particulars. So they're not addressed as like the mode of existence of a particular or the mode of existence of a universal. So the answer is no. Or sorry, yes, there is a distinction according to your paradigm.
Okay, so if you understand my paradigm, I want to make that very, very clear. We've acknowledged that we don't count particulars the same way that we count personal relations. Okay, perfect. So now moving on from that, what is a particular?
Sorry, yeah, a particular is something that which is instantiated from a universal.
Okay, and so everything that exists as a particular, you would agree that it is divisible?
Divisible as in separable?
Yeah, divisible as in the universal that grounds it is the particular is a particular instantiation or instance of the universal.
Yeah, a particular is an instantiation of a universal. That's what you just asked. Is that what you meant to ask?
That's what I just said.
Yeah, and I just answered it.
Okay, perfect. So yeah. So he finally answered a question, guys. Okay, so now that we understand that a particular, right, is the instantiation of a universal, meaning that particulars are divisible, is it the case that you can divide God? Is God divisible?
When you say God, what does God pick out here? Allah or Father, Son, and Holy Spirit?
Yeah, so we're obviously talking about the Christian paradigm. Are you aware where you're at? We're having a discussion about the Trinity right now.
Yeah, your God, if you mean your God, then your God is definitely can be divided due to the very fact that your God is it logically follows that there's three essences.
Wait, so how does it logically follow that because there are relational distinctions, this would necessitate an essential distinction? How does that follow?
Yeah, I'll tell you. So that's actually one of my arguments. So due to the very fact that we understand that Jesus Christ, and you accept the law of transitivity, so Jesus Christ, the Father and the Spirit, we understand that they are God, and we understand that God, there exists exactly one God, and this God is a Trinity. And we understand that for all x, if x is God, then x is a Trinity, and if Jesus is God, then Jesus must be triune, because for all x, if x is God, then x is a Trinity. And otherwise, if you don't accept that, you fall into a contradiction. And if you do accept that, you get multiple gods. And that actually comes from modus ponens.
Yeah, so it seems like you don't understand the distinction between essential distinctions and relational distinctions. So I'll go ahead and cash this out for you. I did it in my opener. And then like the nervous laughter, I see it a lot. So yeah, like a relational distinction wouldn't be essential because a relational distinction
does that lead to a question, Q-Top? It only
it's gonna lead to a question. The relational distinction is a mode of subsistence. It doesn't actually affect the content of subsistence. So can you please give me what the like mediating principle would be, justifying how something's mode of subsistence necessarily would dictate the content of subsistence? How would that follow?
You define mode of subsistence as?
A personal relation in an essence.
Okay, so meaning Jesus and the Father? As an example?
Meaning the persons, yeah.
Okay, good. So if you have three persons, and we use the law of transitivity, which is the principle that you're asking for, when we use that law, and we come to the very fact that the Trinity is the only God, right? And that for all x, if x is God, then x is the Trinity. Or for all x, if x is a Trinity, then x is God. Then it would follow that either Jesus is a Trinity, and that means that there are more gods, or you would come to the conclusion that Jesus is not the Trinity. Therefore, Jesus would not be God. The principle is the law of transitivity, meaning A equals B, B equals C. Therefore, conclusion, A equals C. And unless you reject that law,
I just pause the time quickly. I just want to, guys, and please, concise answers. Most answers should be very quick and concise. If all the answers take forever, then we waste each other's times. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to restart the time again.
Appreciate you, brother. So the law of transitivity, transitivity of identity.
All right, I'm going to start the time again. Go ahead.
Yeah, so would you affirm that the law of transitivity of identity is categorically dependent?
No.
It is not categorically dependent. So the law of transitivity of identity applies in all categories?
Yeah, I believe it's applicable.
Okay, perfect. So the law of transitivity of identity would also be applicable in parsing through universals and particulars?
It would apply everywhere.
So a universal is the same as a particular?
No, you'd have to explain how the law of transitivity demonstrates that.
Yeah, well, the law of transitivity of identity, I thought that you knew what it was. It's just saying that, like, well, look, everything true of X is true of Y. So the law of transitivity of identity is just essentially Leibniz's law. That it's just saying, like, well, look, if something is true of X, then like all these properties true of X is also true of Y. So I'm asking you, like, if this law would be applicable to universals and particulars, meaning that a particular is that identical in any sense to the universal.
Firstly, to address your blunder, the law of transitivity of identity is not Leibniz's law, right? You're confused. You don't know what you're talking about, right? Leibniz's law states specifically that for all x and y, if x and y share the same properties, then they're the same thing. The law of transitivity says A equals B and B equals C. Therefore, this entails necessarily that A equals C. All right, so you're confused. You don't know what you're talking about. Go ahead with the next question. I know the distinction and the symmetry breaker between the law or the Leibniz's law and the law of transitivity. They're not the same thing.
Yeah, so they actually are the same thing. Leibniz's law says everything true of X is true of Y. And so if we actually like apply this out, that's when we would get to the law of transitivity of identity. So the law of transitivity of identity is Leibniz's law actually cashed out in a particular domain, right? So if you say A equals B, B equals C, then A would equal C. That's just simply Leibniz's law, because in order to actually form that statement, it would just be the case that A would actually have to be identical to B, meaning that everything true of A is also true of B. So with that being said, can you please give me the symmetry breaker? I'm going to ask again. Can you please give me the symmetry breaker between, if it is the case that a particular is identical to a universal, can we apply Leibniz's law or the transitivity of identity to particulars and universals? Can we apply that?
Sorry, that's going to be a loaded question. I think you're malfunctioning here, and I'll tell you exactly why. Because I don't believe particulars at all can be identical to universals. I think that's gibberish. And you know my ontology. I'm a conceptualist. So start the engine back up, bro. Ask the right questions. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you made a blunder there. Thank you for not answering my question. A conceptualist has nothing to do with a divine conceptualist. You said that last time. But yeah, so now that you've pivoted from that, I'm going to ask it maybe in a different way. The law of transitivity of identity says that if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C. This will just be a different expression of Leibniz's law, because when you say that A is equal to B, you're just saying that everything true of A is true of B, right? So I'm asking you, if you do not think that the law of transitivity of identity is non-categorically dependent as being explicated by Leibniz's law, okay, how can you explain any identity in reality? Can you give me two things besides a mathematical equation, two particulars that are absolutely identical?
Well, no, because due to the very fact that there is two, they wouldn't be absolutely identical. Like, what's wrong with you? If there's two things, you cannot even class them as absolutely identical, because if they were absolutely identical, then it would be the case that there is not two things. What are you talking about? You can't count?
Okay. So yeah, so it seems that you don't understand the nature of my question. It's very obvious by the nervous laughter. So I'm going to ask you the question again. You said that the law of transitivity of identity is not categorically dependent. And the law of transitivity of identity is just Leibniz's law explicated. So what I'm asking you is, can you give me an example of where the law of transitivity of identity would be applicable? Give me an example of the law of transitive identity. Not the math. Give me an example of the law of transitive identity that's actually applicable in the real world.
Yeah, for example, I mean, we could say, like, for example, you have air, right? And by the way, this is a semantical reduction, or sorry, a semantical distinction, but an ontological reduction. Let's say we have air equals oxygen, and then that's A equals B, and then we're going to say oxygen equals, or let's say, sorry, I meant to say we have liquid, we have like the ocean, right? We have the liquid in the ocean, that is equal to water. Water equals H2O, therefore H2O equals liquid in the ocean. That's an example of an ontological reduction, but a semantical difference. Do you understand how this can apply? This is due to the very fact that A, B, and C are all equal. Do you understand?
Yeah, and so you actually just demonstrated my point. So what we're talking about is we're talking about H2O, we're talking about water. We're not talking about any relational distinction within that. So we're talking about the same category, right? So again, this would just show that it's categorically dependent. So can you give me an example of the law of transitivity of identity that is talking about two distinct categories?
Yeah, the point is there is not a distinction. There's only a semantical distinction. Why? Because A equals B. An equivalence here is stating an absolute identity, right? Since there's an absolute identity, you're not going to find any distinction. It's going to be ontologically reduced to the same exact thing, same thing, but there's just a semantical and syntactical distinction. You understand?
So you're not answering my question again.
I told you why
it's very obvious by the nervous laughter. So let's actually
oh my God.
let's actually bring this back, right? Let's bring this back. Can you repeat the question I've even been asking you?
Yeah, you're asking me how can we demonstrate the law of transitivity? How can we demonstrate and apply this to the real world? I can track, but you can't track why I'm answering the way I'm answering.
No. I asked you, is the law of transitivity of identity categorically dependent? You said no. So then I said, demonstrate in the real world how the law of transitivity of identity is not categorically dependent. And you haven't done that. All you did was you talked about water and H2O, right? That's the same category. H2O is water. There's no relational distinction in there. Right. So when we talk about the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, we're saying, well, look, these are identical in essence, but there's a different relational distinction because one is begotten of the other and one proceeds from the Father and the Son. So like, I don't understand like why you're making this weird blunder. So I'm gonna ask you the question again. Can you please give me an example of how the law of transitivity of identity is non-categorically dependent?
Yeah, to simply answer your question is actually close to an argument from silence, and I'll tell you exactly why. Okay, this is because I have no reason to believe that there is going to be a categorical dependence on when we can use this specific law, right? This comes from the principle of epistemic openness. I'm not given a justified reason as to believe the contrary, therefore I accept the former. All right. So Q-Top, it's your job to tell us why there's a categorical dependence. I believe there isn't because I believe the law logically follows everywhere and I see no defeater. Thank you.
Yeah, so what we just saw there was him actually not give a justification, which is another, again, guys, in my opening statement, I spoke about this, right? How the Muslim cannot give a justification for how Leibniz's law is not categorically dependent. We just saw that there. He said, I'm giving an argument for silence when I'm actually asking him to justify the nature of his claim. Right now, I'm not giving an argument for silence because how we address the Trinity is we speak about essence and personal relations. I mean, we have three personal relations in one essence. So you can't apply the law of transitivity of identity because these things are categorically dependent. Right? You said they're non-categorically dependent, but you couldn't even give me a justification. So we'll move on from there. What's my time? I think I'm almost okay.
1 minute and 20 seconds.
Okay, perfect. Okay, went over that. Okay, interesting. So, can you define what we mean when we say essence in a Christian doctrine?
The Christian doctrine is not unified on one definition of essence. I'll give a couple though. Essence could be defined as a set of essential properties. Essence could be defined as, like for example, the existence of a thing or the mode of existence of a thing. Or what the thing is, sorry. It's like isness.
Yeah, so essence is what something is. Can you please give the relevant distinction between having one what, which is one God, and three whos, which is the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit? What is the relevant problem there?
Okay, the relevant problem is that three persons that are distinct, that which all share the same divine essence, it results of three gods due to the very fact that counting by identity, there is three gods using the classical counting method. That's the relevant problem here.
And you can't show why the classical counting method is non-categorically dependent. You can't show that.
Is that a question?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. So to answer that question, the classical counting method, we have no justification to simply just exclude God out of this method on how to count. Rather, what we're going to do is the same way we count everything that which exists in one way, we have no justification at all. It's completely arbitrary to say we count God differently unless you propose some sort of justification.
All right. All right. We just let him finish his answer there. We'll do the same thing for Q. All right. Thank you so much for your cross-exam. Just before we start the next cross-exam, Darren, is there a reason the comments are off?
Wait, say that one more time.
Okay. Yeah, I just said, is there a reason the comments are off?
Mine's probably turned it off because it might have got a little disrespectful down there. We just want the debaters to be able to, focus on the debate. But we can turn it back on. We can turn it back on.
We should turn it back on, in my opinion.
Okay. Hey, you guys turn the comments back on if you can. Yeah, just make sure everybody keeps it respectful on both sides.
Instead of turning it off, why don't they just mute?
It's a lot of people, bro.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's a lot of people, bro.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, go ahead and turn it back on, you guys. But hey, keep it respectful, please, you guys, because we don't want to have to start kicking people.
Yeah. All right, so 25 minutes on the clock for Islamic Apex. Again, I'll remind you, please try to keep it concise and quick. If something needs to be clarified, then if the clarification takes too long, I'm gonna pause the time like I did for UQ. What else? Keep it under 40 seconds when you want to qualify. And if it's a straight dichotomy, then make sure it's a yes or a no and 40 seconds. But 25 minutes on the clock here. Whenever you're ready, 3, 2, 1, go ahead.
Q-Top, what type of distinction is used between differentiating between the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit?
A relational distinction.
Sorry. So I'm asking you that relation. What is that called? What is that? Is that a conceptual distinction? Is this a real distinction? What is that?
Yeah, it's a real distinction.
Oh, so it's not a conceptual distinction, right?
It's formal.
So you know the difference between a formal and a real distinction?
Yeah, a formal distinction would be dependent upon the actual substance, meaning that the actual essential properties are not divided. A conceptual distinction is simply in the mind. It'd be dependent upon if you're like a divine conceptions or a conceptions, but typically it just denotes being in the human mind. And real distinction just means some sort of distinction of existence.
So have you previously said that the persons are conceptually distinct?
Yeah, when I said conceptually distinct, I just meant formally distinct. So they're conceptually distinct in the mind of God, not in the mind of man.
Yeah, so nobody uses the word that way. But anyways, let's continue. So do you know what the classical counting method actually is? Can you flesh out the two axioms that are within it?
There is no it depends. So when you say classical counting method, there is no objective classical counting method.
No, there is. It's actually an axiom that which we use to count everyday things. So when I mention a CCM, what are the two axioms that which are actually used?
Yeah, there is no classical counting method. So
so he's not going to answer the question, and that's fine.
Necessarily.
No,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
answering. I don't know why I'm being interrupted.
You're not answering.
I don't know why I'm being interrupted. I didn't interrupt you.
One sec, guys. One sec, Enes. When you ask the question, he has 40 seconds to respond, bro. Okay.
Sure, no problem.
All right, keep going.
Yeah, so look, when you say classical counting method, there is no objective counting method. Now, if you just are referring to the counting by identity, I can just say, well, look, we don't count by identity, we count by division. So you have to show why it's objectively true that counting by identity would always apply. So that's my answer.
Good. So I didn't really hear an answer of which axioms, and that's fine. So if you applied identity to God, how many gods would you count if we counted by identity?
You count one God.
So if we counted by identity, we would count one God?
Yeah.
What does it mean to count by identity, sir?
Yeah, well, you didn't actually specify what you meant by identity. In the Christian context, we count by impure relative identity, which is a type of identity, which is just to say that there's one essence, but within that one essence, there's distinctions of relation. So we count by relative identity or impure relative identity, which is a type of identity.
Can you guys hear me? No good?
We can hear you.
Okay, good. So, Q-Top, does the CCM use classical identity?
Yeah.
Okay, good. If we applied classical identity to God, how many gods would we have?
It's impossible. Your question is malformed. That's like saying if the laws of logic were false. So I'm disputing the nature of the question.
Wait, so what part of the question do you disagree with?
Yeah, because God is metaphysically primary, existence is indivisible. Therefore, you can't actually divide existence like you would divide particulars. So we count the created order differently than the creator.
Oh, so you're saying that we're essentially special pleading and we're counting different due to the very fact that God is distinct from creation. Okay, good. So my question is we cannot apply classical identity to God. Can you quantify God?
By quantification, if you just mean like discernibility of personal relation, yes.
Okay, good. So we can create a discernibility. Good. So when you say when we discern these persons, right? What makes them one God?
What makes them one God is that they share one divine essence. The essence is actually what God is. So all the essential properties that make God God are fully possessed by three distinct relations.
Good. Can you please cash out for us what classical identity is?
Yeah, classical identity would just be some sort of representation or explication of Leibniz's law, which just says that X is identical to Y. Everything true of X is true of Y. So when we count, if there's no indiscernibility, then that would just mean like one thing under classical identity.
Good. Do you accept classical identity?
I think it's categorically dependent. Yes, I do accept it.
Okay. Why can we not use classical identity to count how many gods there are?
Yes, I'll say it again, which is what I said in my opener. We can't use it because like existence is indivisible. So we apply this to particulars. We don't apply this to that which is the instantiation of particulars, which is God. So because God is existence, you can think about God being reality. We can't divide reality because that means there will be different distinct realities. There's only one objective reality. There's only one objective God, and that God is identical to existence. And there's three relational distinctions that fully possess existence.
Okay, good. Thank you for that answer. So would you say that when you say that God is identical, wait, you said that God is an instantiation of a particular. What does that mean?
Yeah, I never said God was an instantiation of our particular.
You did. You did.
I said that God instantiates all particulars.
God instantiates all particulars. That's not what you said. You said that God instantiates from particulars. So can you tell us, wait, 1 second, Q-Top. So what does it mean when you say that God instantiates particulars?
Yeah, I mean that God created all things, and God possesses all distinct ideas, which is the universal of particulars. And so, because God created all things, the created order would just be just particulars, because it all would be expressed by the universal, which is God.
Good. Would you agree that the essence of God, it being one, creates the fact that there is one God?
Say that again.
Yeah, I'm going to please understand what I'm telling you. Track, right? So when I say, is the essence of God, it being identified as one and exactly one essence, is that what generates us the idea that there is exactly one God? Answer, please.
I don't know what any of that means. I'm going to take
Okay,
it.
so again,
I'm going to take it. I'm still speaking, dude. I'm trying to answer your question. If all you mean by that is like God being one essence, is that why we count one God? Yeah, we count one God because there is one Godhood that is shared by three persons.
Okay, good. So the reason why there is one God is due to the fact that there's exactly one essence that which all three persons share. Good. And do you define essence as a set of essential properties?
Yes, essence is essential properties, yes.
Okay, good. Would you agree that the only reason that they are one God is due to the fact that they all share the same essence?
Yes.
Oh, good. So here comes a concession. So do me and you share the same essence?
No, we do not.
Okay, good. What are the essential properties that me and you have that are distinct?
Yeah, the essential properties we have that are distinct is our participation in existence. So we participate in existence in a different way, right? So I exist in a different way than you. So we both possess the human nature, but the way that we exist is distinct because our essence is not identical to our existence, right? And so it is the case that we, as being humans, right, we are particulars of the humanity universal, right? And that humanity universal is divisible. Existence is not divisible because God is distinct, because what God is, he's identical to. So God is identical to existence. We are not identical to existence. So we participate in existence in two distinct ways.
Thanks. So again, I'm going to ask you this. Do you understand what an essential property even is?
Yeah, an essential property would just mean that like something that makes an essence what it is. So if an essence does not have an essential property, then the thing actually wouldn't exist.
Okay, good. Q-Top, humans have two essential properties. What are they?
I mean, whatever you define them as.
No,
I mean,
what are
you
they,
say
sir? What are they?
You say essential properties in humans. That I mean, we have the human nature.
Sorry, that's the essence, right? I'm asking you the two properties that make up the humanity. What are these two properties? I'm not done asking my question. What are these two properties in which every human has to make them a human? What are they, sir?
I mean, look, if by properties you just mean like what we possess. Like I mean, we possess rationality. We're agents. Like I don't really know how this is relevant.
Yeah, it's relevant, and you'll see why. So, which properties? It's the last time I'm asking this. Which essential properties do me and you have that make us a human necessarily?
Yeah, we have the ability to reason. We're made in the image of God, and we have agency.
Sorry, I didn't hear properties. I just heard like some sentences. So we have rationality and we have animality. Would you agree that it's necessary for a human to be a human? They must have rationality and animality. Yes or no?
I literally just said reason, so yes, and then I said act, which is agency. So I literally just said exactly what you just said. So how?
Oh yeah,
how
so animality is agency now, right?
So how did I like misrepresent that?
You're asking a question. You can ask a question. Sorry. Thank you. So yeah, you didn't mention animality, and that's okay. Sometimes you don't know things. That's fine. So my question is do me and you both have animality and rationality?
Yes.
Okay, good. And we understand that if X shares the same essential properties as Y, then X and Y share the same essence. Do you agree with that biconditional, sir?
I think it's categorically dependent, so no.
Would you agree with it in this category?
No.
Why?
Yeah, because we have different participations in existence. So the universal is divisible. So we are distinct. We are not the same person. We are distinct. And the reason we are distinct and the reason that we're not the exact same essence is because we have essential categories and properties that are distinct. We do not have the same essential properties.
Okay, good. So do you understand the difference between an accident and an essential property?
Yes, an accident is something that is not necessary. An essential property would be necessary. So in God, there is no accidents because God's existence is necessary, and its essence is necessary because God's essence is identical to its existence. So accidents are contingent, meaning that they could have been different, and something being essential means that it's necessary. It's an essential property of an essence.
So Q-Top, do me and you differ on accidents but share the same exact two essential properties?
When you say do we differ on accidents, and by accidents you just mean the contingent properties that we have, and by essential properties you just mean rationality and agency. Yes,
Animality.
Animality is a type of. I don't look. What do you mean when you say animality? What is that?
Can you answer the question?
What is that? I'm asking.
Can you answer the question?
I need clarification on what you mean. When you say animality.
Look.
I need clarification. I don't understand you.
All right, I'm gonna pause. He wants clarification, so we have to grant him that. Go ahead and clarify.
Okay, good. So animality, I'm gonna just grant to you that it means agency. It has no relevance to the argument whatsoever. Are you gonna let me? Are you okay? Are you all right?
All right.
Okay, so that was just a waste of time.
Go ahead,
Go ahead, dude.
What's wrong with this guy?
I'm gonna start the
That
time.
was embarrassing. That was forced. Anyways,
I'm gonna start the time now. All right.
Yeah, thank you. So I can grant to you that animality refers to agency. That has no relevancy to what we're talking about. Okay, I'm gonna grant to you that animality is agency, although that's not what it actually is. So now my question is do us differing on accidents distinguish us from the same essence of humanity?
Yeah, so humanity is a universal. So humanity can be shared by many particulars.
Yeah, so that's not my question, okay? My question specifically is, Q-Top, is do we have different essences due to the fact that we have accidents which differentiate us? Yes or no?
We have different essences, yes.
That's not my question. I'm going to ask it again, okay? Do we have different essences due to the very fact that me and you can differentiate each other from our accidents?
It's not just due to that fact. I've already clarified this. I can clarify it again if you're just not linearly tracking. Yeah, we have different participations in existence because the universal humanity is divisibly shared by me and you. The universal humanity is not identical to existence, meaning that the universal of humanity is contingent, not necessary. Everything in God is necessary, everything in the creation is contingent.
Okay, stop going on side tangents, but that's fine. So when you say act of participation, what is that? Does that pick out like essentialism, or does that pick out accidents? Which one?
Yeah, so your participation as being categorized as something that's contingent would fit the accident category.
Oh, good. So what you're saying is that accidents are what differentiate us from our essences, quote unquote. So we have different essences due to the very fact that we have accidents that which differentiate us. And you claimed and said that accidents are not the only thing that which differentiate us. So you've just contradicted yourself. So my question is do we have different essential properties from each other?
Yeah, so I want to clarify something here. Yeah, so when I said that existence is an accident, I just mean that our existence is not necessary. And so we can make an essential distinction between us because our essence is not identical to our existence. Because existence is indivisible and everything in the creation is divisible, meaning it's a particular, meaning that it's a relation to a universal, right? That wouldn't actually be applicable. So can you actually tell me exactly what the blunder there was? Because I literally just
You're asking a question.
I just clarified. I just clarified. Yeah, it's a clarifying question.
No, asking what blunder is not a clarifier.
It's a
clarifier. No, it's not.
Yeah,
no,
it is a
not.
clarifier.
You just be calling anything a clarifier.
Yeah, hold on, wait, pause time. You guys, you got to ask a question. You got to answer the questions directly. We can't keep going back and forth like this. So let's keep the flow. Ask a question, real simple response, and let's keep the flow going.
Yeah, I'm asking a clarifying question because
I paused for you so you could ask the clarifier. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So I want to know what the mediating principle was when you said that when I said accident, there is no distinction between existence when it comes to divisibility or indivisibility among particulars. So what is the mediating principle? Why is it the case that an accident couldn't be referred to as some sort of existence category? I want you to clarify what you mean when you said that I contradicted myself.
You contradicted yourself when you specifically said that accidents are not the only things that which differentiate us. Rather, there's things outside of accidents that which make me and you different. And then I asked you, is the act of participation an accident? You said, yeah, it's an accident. And you said that is outside of the category of accidents. Therefore, it would follow that you contradicted yourself because you stated that A, you are not only different than me by accidents, and then B, you said, we are different in another way that is outside of accidents, which is called the act of participation. And C, you said that act of participation is an accident. Therefore, there's a contradiction. Now, let me move on to my question. Okay.
Wait, no, I'm still clarifying.
It's not a back and forth.
You're not going to be able to
listen.
All right, guys.
I gotta ask a question.
Guys. Hey, please stop. Thank you. All right, we're just gonna move on. I'm gonna start the time, and just continue with your questions, please. Go ahead.
Thank you. So do me and you share the same exact essential properties?
No.
Which essential properties do we not share, and please name them?
Yeah, we do not share the same participation of existence.
Sorry, is that an essential property?
Yeah, it is.
According to who?
According to me. According to logic.
According to me? Sorry, sir. When you say act of participation, that's going to be external to the essential properties that we've already established as being the two, animality and rationality, right? So are you still upholding that standard that we both share the same essential properties insofar as us having animality and rationality? Because according to you, you're contradicting yourself now. So please answer my question. Do me and you share more than two essential properties?
Yeah, I see you're getting very emotionally flustered and you wanted to pivot from the last point here. So I already like made the clear distinction here. Yeah, so when you say essential properties and you say reason and you say animality, which you didn't actually want to like cash out, like you just like, it was very trivial. All you meant there was that these things are essential in the who-ness, meaning that in order to be a human, you have rationality and you have animality. That has nothing to do with our participation of existence, which means that these things would make us essentially distinct. We do not have the same essence. Everything in the creation is essentially distinct.
How many essential properties do we have, bro?
Yeah, in our who-ness or in our whatness? What are you talking about?
You as a human, we're not talking about, dude, I'm talking about specifically the essence, the human nature. To be a human, how many essential properties must you possess to be a human?
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and like clarify this again, right? I just answered this, right? So rationality, agency or animality, and there has to be some way in which you exist or participate in the universal, which is humanity.
Can you repeat the third one?
Oh my goodness gracious.
Can you repeat the third one?
I'll say it again. To be a human means you have rationality, you have agency, and you are participating in humanity, which is the universal. Meaning there's a participation of your existence. You are participating in existence. You are not existence, but you are participating in existence.
So the third one is completely unnecessary. There is no need for the third one because by definition, if you have rationality and animality, then it follows that you exist. You cannot say non-existence possesses animality and rationality. That's gibberish, right? So do me and you both have rationality and animality? It's a yes or no question.
Yes, obviously.
Thank you, kid. May Allah bless you. Go ahead, Q-Top.
Yeah, I say yes, obviously.
Oh, sorry. The answer is yes, that me and you both share rationality and animality?
Correct.
Good. And that for all X possesses rationality and animality, then X exists?
No, it depends. That question is categorically dependent. So
Wait, so something?
When you say X, when you say X exists, I just want to clarify. Are you saying that X exists as existence itself, or are you saying that X is participating in existence?
No, X is obviously participating in existence. So answer my question, please.
If X is participating in existence, then those two things would be essentially distinct.
That's not my question. I'm asking you, can something that has rationality and animality, is there a possibility that it just doesn't exist, although it possesses rationality and animality? Is that coherent?
It's contingent. Yes, that is coherent. Yes.
So it's coherent to say you have a non-existent thing that possesses rationality and animality.
I said that if a human being exists, they possess rationality and animality.
That's not my question. You're not tracking my question. I'm going to ask it again. You're malfunctioning. Yes, you are. My question is, because your third premise or condition as an essential property of the human nature is that you must participate in existence. I think that's redundant and unnecessary. My question is, if you possess animality and rationality, do you necessarily exist if you possess these two, or is there a possibility that you don't exist if you possess these two essential properties? Go ahead.
If you possess those two, you must participate in existence, which you're running from. So
Thank you.
I said it's like
Thank
three
you.
times.
Thank you. So you just conceded that your third condition of being a human, which is participating in existence, is redundant and unnecessary due to the very fact that if you have 1 and 2, which is rationality and animality, then it follows to be the case that you exist necessarily. Clip that. So my next question is if me and you share the same. I'm not done talking.
You just made a statement, and that statement didn't lead to a question.
Yeah, you guys.
No. Hey,
wait, you have wait. He just made a statement.
You're just answering questions.
Wait, you have to
All
let
you're doing is answering questions.
As long as you're leading to a question.
No, that's not how a debate works, sir.
You have to say question.
Guys, please.
Do you know how
What is going on? You're so convoluted.
Really low tier.
Yo.
That's a wonder.
Hey, I'm muting both of y'all real quick. I'm muting both of y'all.
What are we doing? What are we
Go
doing?
ahead, Orthodox.
Yo, Darren, next time mute them if they do that, bro.
I did. I got him. I'm muting him.
Yeah. All right. Let me just clarify something. So, when you have a cross exam, commentary, you could only have commentary if it leads up to a question. Okay. So that's how it was in Q-Top's turn, and that's how it should be in Apex's turn as well. So unnecessary commentary, avoid it unless it leads up to a question. All right, I'm gonna restart your time. I'm gonna start it late because you guys were yelling and it was going for about 7 seconds. So
All right, so
I'll start it after 7 seconds. Go ahead.
no worries. So Q-Top, since you said that everything that which has rationality and animality necessarily exists and participates analytically, it's analytically true. So if me and you share the same essential properties, do we share the same essence?
Yeah, by essential properties, if you just mean that which makes an essence, then yes, we will share the same essence. But
Okay, good.
that does not mean that we do not participate in existence differently, which is what I just said, which is what you actually are just running from. I don't know where you are.
Yeah, Q-tip. That wasn't my question, right? So my question specifically was,
Hey, Q,
if
wait, wait,
me
wait.
and you
No,
share the
Q
same
top.
properties, then it follows. Sorry?
No, Q top.
Yeah, my fault, Q-top. So Q-top, if me and you share the same essential properties, and by essential properties, I mean that which makes a thing what it is necessarily, for example, animality and rationality, would it follow that me and you share the same essence? Yes or no?
No, it wouldn't follow because we participate in existence differently. So we are essentially distinct. I've made this clarification many, many times here. So answering your question for like the sixth time, which is getting really kind of boring here. We are essentially distinct because we participate in existence differently. Our essence is not identical to existence. Existence is indivisible. So we just be participating in existence differently.
Good. Is participating in existence differently? Is this like or is like participating in existence itself? Is this going to be something that is essential, like an essential property of humanity?
Yeah, so all particulars participate in existence differently. So it would definitely apply to you.
Yeah, like for example, like you riding a bike and I'm walking. That's us participating in existence differently.
No, that's not what I mean when I say participation in existence. So let me clarify. Maybe this is where the blunder is going on. So when I say participating in existence, what I mean is that because our essence is not identical to our existence, the way that we exist, the location in which we exist, these are all things which are contextualized, what we call the principle of individuation, which is why all particulars are essentially distinct.
I think you meant individuation, not individuation, but that's fine. So yeah, it's okay. It's okay, no problem. I just had to correct you there with that blunder. So Q-top, would you say that our actions also differentiate us within the act of or the act of participation?
Ask the question again. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So would you say that our actions, that which we originate, would these things be differentias or symmetry breakers between my participation in existence and yours?
Actions have nothing to do with it now.
Okay, good. So you agree that something can act different than another, but still share the same act of participation.
Something can act different. We can do different things and just be share a different participation in existence. Yes.
So what exactly differentiates us when it comes to the act of participation?
Yeah, what differentiates us is because our essence is not identical to our existence, our spatial temporal location, okay, the fact that we're not comprised of the same matter, right? So I'm comprised of different atoms than you're comprised of. These things make us essentially distinct. Also, the fact that we are participating in existence differently. Again, I'll clarify what I mean by that because I think this is the crux of the debate. When I say participating in existence, all I mean is that because our essence is not our existence, we are participating in the universal of humanity, which is grounded by God. And so our existence, being an instantiation of a particular, would just simply be different. We are participating in the act of being in a different way. That's why we're essentially distinct.
Yeah, dude, you're not answering my question. All you're saying is that we are not identical to our essence. Therefore, we're going to be essentially distinct. And you also begged a question earlier by stating that me and you, but by stating, like you literally stated, you said that me and you, we are essentially distinct because of the very fact that we don't have the same essence. So again, what is the relevance of saying that me and you have different that me and you specifically are distinct insofar as our essence is not being identical to existence?
Yeah. So I'm answering your question, but I think you think answering your question is dependent upon whether you think I answered your question. Answering your question is dependent upon whether I actually presented like propositional content to correspond to the propositional content that you're inquiring about. Now, I'll make the nervous laughter. So I'll answer your question again. Participation of existence would just be instantiated. It would be like it would just be like necessarily the case. Like if you are a particular, because if you are a particular, that means that you are not identical to existence, meaning that you are or who you are is not identical to that you are, because existence is indivisible. Okay, we are participating in the indivisible existence, but our instantiation as a particular is divisible from humanity. So we are both participating in existence in a different way. We are both subsisting or both corresponding to existence in a different way.
Okay, good. So my Lebiano, you have to pause the time when I'm asking a question.
Sorry? Sorry?
I said, do you pause the time when I ask a question or when he's answering?
No, you don't pause the time for either.
All right, no problem. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So, Q-Top, would you say that the Father, he is begotten?
You said, did I say the Father is begotten? No, the Father is not begotten.
He's ingenerate. Okay. Is the Son begotten?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Would you say that the Father has paternity essentially?
By ascension, so no, there's a relational distinction between the essential categories and the relational categories. So the Father is not essentially like distinct. The Father is relationally distinct. So that's your
You didn't even answer my question. All right, man.
All right, that is time.
Wasting my time, bro.
Thank you so much
Oh my
for
goodness.
that cross-examination.
And I get to close, right? I get to close?
Yeah, just 1 second, bro. I'm speaking. Thank you so much for the cross-examination from Islamic Apex. We have the closing segment now. It's going to be 5 minutes each. And then after that, we're going to have Q&As. So just before we start the closing, we're going to decide how many questions come from each side. So how many questions do you guys want?
It's up to Islamic Apex. I'm just saying that, like, when we do the Tawheed debate, which I'm very excited for, I'll set the rules. But Islamic, you can decide how many questions you want to ask, man. It's up to you.
5, 4, something like that. We can do like 5.
All right, well, you guys, you
Real
want to do
quick,
5?
real quick, guys. I just got a warning. We got to turn the comments off, bro.
All right.
Hey, if you guys can turn the comments off, I don't know how to do it. Yeah, I just got a warning. So if people are saying stuff in the comments, I got me flagged. So we're gonna turn the comments off for the rest of the day, and we'll open it back. I guess we'll open the comments back up. I guess
At the Q&A, we'll open it back.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. All right.
All right, so 5 questions. Q-Top, you good with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, cool. All right, we'll start with Q-Top's 5-minute closing statement. We'll go to NS after that. Let me just put the timer here. Second. All right, 3, 2, 1, go ahead.
All right. So what we saw here today was a cross-examination where many of my questions straight up just weren't answered by the fact that he just suddenly didn't know what any word I said actually meant. And then what we saw was him ask me questions and me answer the same question repeatedly, and then him say that I wasn't answering his question. I think it's very obvious that from my opening statement, the original thesis that I gave was that there's a fundamental distinction between the essence and the personal relation. What I mean by that is that there are 3 personal relations that subsist in one essence. What I mean by that is that when we say there's one essence, all we mean by that is that there is one substance, one unsia, one God, and there's 3 who's. Okay, this is very simple. Now, earlier on in my opening statement, I said that there's going to be the common blunder of conflating Leibniz's law in categories of particulars. Now, the relevant question that I think is very fundamental to our conversation tonight is that why do we count God differently than we do things in the creation? And I think that's what I've tried my best to flesh out today, but I'll go over it one more time. The reason why we count God differently, meaning that God as being one substance, right, would be counted distinct by his 3 personal relations, is because God is existence. Existence is, by metaphysical necessity, indivisible, meaning that we don't divide existence. We can't divide existence, because if we divide existence, now we have a huge metaphysical problem, because existence fundamentally, right, God being independent, actus purus, is non-divisible. right? So all we're saying is that there are three relations, okay? Three relational distinctions. These relational distinctions don't make this essence divisible, because the mode of subsistence or the way of subsistence does not change the content of subsistence, meaning that we have a Father who is fully God, a Son who is fully God, a Holy Spirit who is fully God, but there is one God. Well, how can that be, Q-Top? Because when we say God, we're referring to the substance, the uncia. When we say persons, we're referring to the hypostasis. So in like, Augustine, classical Trinitarian metaphysics, Thomas Aquinas, this is a very, 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 very key metaphysical distinction. Okay, we make a distinction between essence and personal relation. I don't subscribe to William Lane Craig doctrine of partialism. I don't subscribe to modalism. I subscribe to what the Bible teaches, which is that the Father is God, the Son is God, and the Holy Spirit is God. And that Son, who is God, has revealed himself to the creation, taking on a human nature and dying on the cross for sinners. That if you believe that Jesus Christ is Lord, if you believe that Jesus Christ has died and rose from the dead, you shall be saved. Because Jesus Christ, as he says in John chapter 10, verse 30, I and the Father are one. One what? One in substance. One what? One in nature. One what? One in uncia. They are one, because we serve one God with three relational distinctions: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Where am I at on time? I can't really see the time. 1 minute and 26 seconds. And so all we're going to hear, right, in this individual's closing statement is him yet again, right, conflate essence with personal relation. This is why he didn't actually get to any of his little weak logical syllogism. This is why in his cross-examination, all he kept doing was asking me the same question, because he's trying to conflate particulars and how particulars are instantiated, meaning that particulars are literally divisible, because a particular is an instantiation of the universal. And that instantiation means the universal is divisible. We don't say that God is a universal in the sense that the created order has universals, because God is not shared by many particulars. Godhood cannot be shared. So we're not saying that the Father is sharing Godhood, the Son is sharing Godhood, and the Holy Spirit is sharing Godhood. We're saying the Father is identical to Godhood, the Son is identical to Godhood, and the Holy Spirit is identical to Godhood. Three who's, one what. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching this debate. If you are a Muslim, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Jesus Christ is coming back. And if you do not repent of your iniquity, if you do not turn away from your lawlessness and from your idolatry, you will perish. I'm out here trying to help people. And I'll say it once again, Jesus Christ is Lord. I yield my time.
Right. Thank you so much for that closing statement. We'll go ahead and pass on the mic to Islamic Apex for his closing statement. You have 5 minutes. Let me just get your time here. 5 minutes. And after that, we'll get into the Q&A segment. All right. Ready when you are. 3, 2, 1, go.
Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulihi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. So it's very unfortunate that we understand that which interlocutor between us, the two, who is actually more presentable and more articulate insofar as who can actually be understood more, right? And the reason why the questions that he kept asking were that they had to have been re-asked or reinterpreted or rephrased is because that he used such vague language to convey a question intentionally to cause confusion within the audience and the interlocutor that he's talking to, which is me. This is why that it's very important that when you talk, even as Muslims, Al-Qahtani rahimahullah, we have to remind you guys of what the Salafiyya used to say, the Muakhirin that came after the Salaf, that it's very, very, very critical that when you debate, you ask concise questions and you do not ask ambiguous questions. And then you try and poke fun when somebody asks for clarification. That's dishonesty. That is not allowed. This is just not part of, the etiquette of debate whatsoever in Islam. We should always yield away and get away from that. We should always be clear and concise. He brought John 20:17 as in they are one uncia. It's not uncia. Sorry, basic Greek, it's usia, actually, just so you know, right? So yeah, they are not one uncia, they're one usia. So he quoted John, John saying, I and the Father are one, John 10:30. We understand that John 10:30 in its context, it is not described as what he said, one usia. No, actually, if we go and look at John chapter 17, verse 21, it says that all of them may be one, i.e. the disciples. Father, just as you are in me and I am in you, may they also be in us, so that the world may believe that you have sent me. So according to his belief, if he's consistent, he's going to affirm that according to this verse, he has 12 demigods sitting on the bench ready to be subbed in. This is something that which, if he believes that there's a essence shared within John chapter 10, verse 30, it looks like a subhuman. But so according to John chapter 10, verse 30, if we understand it being usia, then it follows that the disciples also share the same godness or godhood as the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. To continue on, there was nothing in which I conflicted between essence and person. Why? Because simply using the classical counting method, I was able to derive a contradiction. You were not able to justify why we cannot use the classical counting method when it comes to God. You are simply special pleading because God is identical to existence and that we are not identical to existence. Therefore, randomly, we should count differently for God. Otherwise, if we counted that way for God, we'd reach 3 gods, so we have to do that for the Trinity, right? Special pleading. That's what it's called, guys. So no justification, simply him stating that proposition right there. Also to continue, classical identity, again, no Christian in this world could accept classical identity. You know what happens if they do? They would have 3 gods, right? Us Muslims, we are consistent, we are concise when we count everything the same way. We don't do like Harry Potter sorcery, magic and soothsaying when we come to God, right? We say there is one God due to the very fact that there is, one person. Okay, it is very clear. Allah has properties and he has an essence and he's a person as well. What we don't say is, so we reject this, we apply relative identity. No, this is why Islam, even just under like basic philosophy, Occam's razor, Islam is more likely to be true. Islam does not say that there's 3 persons, 1 God, not 3 gods because they're distinct and they're not separate. No, Islam says there's 1 God and 1 God worthy to be worshipped. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, khairul makhluq, the best of creation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ever created. Okay, so just by looking at it from a neutral lens, if we didn't have any revelation, we would come to the conclusion of which one's more probable. But to come back to this specific point, I think that Q-Top was not very concise. You were not very concise here when asking questions nor answering. I think a lot of the things that you were asking were very non-cohesive. I didn't really see any cohesiveness in your questions. I hardly saw it, hence why I had to, qualify myself over and over and over again. But alhamdulillah, we understand that when we debate with individuals, we do the exact contrary. We are concise, we are lexical, we are stipulative when we ask questions and when we answer. And if needed, ask for clarification in order to answer the question properly, inshallah. And Al-Qahtani, rahimahullah, he also reminds us to, not make fun of the individual stuttering, right? So this individual, he stuttered a lot. But, I didn't really make fun of him for it because it's haram, la yajuz, right? So with this being said, we understand that the debate, it has been clear that the classical counting method is not accepted by Q-Top. He doesn't accept it due to a arbitrary reason that, God he's identical to existence, and what we have today here, which exists, is not identical to itself. Therefore, we count it differently. That's just arbitrary. There's no justification for that. But alhamdulillah, that's it. That concludes the debate. And I yield my time and we can continue to the Q&A.
All right, that's just on time. Thank you so much for that closing remark. I appreciate you guys both for the fantastic and enjoyable debate. I want to thank you. Oh, got another one. All right. Yeah, what I was saying is I want to thank you both for the great participation, for keeping it fairly respectful, not too many insults or jabs thrown. So thank you both for that. Also want to thank our host today, Deron Dorsey, for giving us this platform. We thank him for that as well. And we'll move on to the Q&As now. So we'll start with Q-Top. We'll start with a Christian first. Remember, guys, 5 questions each. We'll go Christian, Muslim, Christian, Muslim, Christian, Muslim, so on and so forth. All right. So Darren, do you want to tell them
Yeah.
the list?
Yeah. So are we gonna bring a Christian up?
He's here. He's here. All right.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. I'll be ask a question to Islamic Apex and drop after that. Go ahead.
Okay, you got it. Great debate, though. Just really quick, just want to ask a clarifying question to the moderators. Are we allowed to use the Bible as as part of the questionnaires or no?
It's up to them. It's up to them.
Are you okay with that, Apex?
Is that okay?
I mean, the Bible really has nothing to do with it, but it's final
You
answer.
guys, the only reason because you guys mentioned it. That's
It's
why.
fine. It's fine.
So-
It's fine. Go
I'm
ahead.
fine with that.
You can ask whatever, Albie.
Yeah, go ahead, Albie. Go ahead.
Okay. So what I want to ask is if Apex can pull up in the KJV, because the KJV gets the Hebrew correct, in Genesis chapter 5, verse 1 and 2, because you brought up humans, right, as far as counting, even though we know that God is unlike anything in creation because his immaterial substance cannot be compared to anything in creation. That's your position as well. But nonetheless, though, here's a finite model since you brought up humanity. In Genesis chapter 5, verse 1 and 2, it says that in the day that God created them, male and female, okay, and named them, in the day he created them, named them Adam. So my question is this. Adam is a singular name. How can Adam be used of two distinct persons because both male and female are called Adam in this context? So if the male and female are distinct and we know they're distinct, how can they share the one singular name?
Okay. I'm gonna respond, but I'm sorry, it is disanalogous. Unfortunately, it is. When it uses the word Adam in Genesis, that's not really gonna be referring to a name, Albi. I mean, you should know this, right? So when they're both made Adam, I'm pretty sure the context suggests that they're both human, right? I think that's what the context suggests. Yeah, they're both male and female, but they're both Adam, insofar as them both being human. Q-Top, go ahead, bro.
Q-Top, you get to comment on that as well if you choose to. If you don't want to, you could just pass it on.
Yeah, I think it's very relevant. Like Albie said, there is definitely a creator-creature distinction, which I tried to highlight in our dialogue today. That creator-creature distinction can be cashed out in the sense that, yes, there are two individuals that are both being called Adam in this context. So they would technically be sharing that universal. So, but they're also like essentially distinct. So the reason why Islamic Apex is laughing is because he's just been coping this entire time.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's bring up, what's his name? Muslim Lighthouse next, Darren, if he's there.
Got you. Muslim Lighthouse. Oh, you're a mod as well. Let me see. Is Muslim Lighthouse down there, Umar? Hold on, let me see. Oh, there you go. Got him.
All right, Omar, just ask your question, articulate it, and then drop. And if you need a clarifier beforehand, you also get a clarifier.
Yeah. So I mean, I already know he holds to impure relative identity. I don't think he knows what it is, but so look, so there would be a sort of God and sort of person. Now, if I said that Vishnu and Shiva were under specific sort of G, and they were individuals under that sort of G, would Vishnu and Shiva be one God?
Yeah, so if by sortal G, the G is identical to existence, meaning that it's actually one being or one entity or one substance, then yes, there would be of one substance. But however, Vishnu,
Can you drop Omar, please?
why
Well, you can't do that, bro.
So I just want to clarify. I can't drop or bring anybody up. So
Well, you should be. I modded you.
I don't have it yet. It doesn't show up.
Oh, I modded you in the beginning, but I'll make sure. Hold on,
Yeah.
let me give you full mod, bro.
All right. Yeah, because I could just bring up people like that.
I see. I didn't check the
okay, I just got like blatantly.
All right, you're good. You're good to go.
That was really strange. He just like
All right,
laughed.
you
and then I
talk
don't know
if you want to go ahead and finish the answer.
Yeah,
then
I
Apex-
would absolutely love to finish. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and
So
Islamic Apex.
so like in like polytheistic theology, right? These like individuals would be like essentially distinct, meaning that they don't actually share the same substance of existence. right? And so the distinction in Christian theology is that, look, we have one existence with three relational distinctions. We don't have three distinct existences. We don't have three distinct essences, right? So that this is it just be so disanalogous, and it just really shows how low tier and uninformed these Muslims really are. We have one essence with three relational distinctions, meaning we have one existence with three relational distinctions. We don't have three existences. That's not what we say.
All right. Islamic, you want to go ahead and have a comment on that?
I mean, I don't got much to say, bro, but I think that's kind of crazy. So, under the Sordal G, meaning God, if Vishnu and Shiva are under that, are they the same God or is it a different God? He said it's the same God. That's just shirk. That's just polytheism. But just bring up the next guest for me, man.
All right. Q-Top, who do you want me to bring? I have Yakovos.
I try to. Well, let me do it. Let me do the for the Christian side because I don't think he knows who most of these people are.
Okay.
I tried to get Godson. I just accepted his request, but he's not coming up on the panel, so I don't know where he's at. Oh, we got Banku as well. Yes, Banku's here.
Oh, yes, sir. First of all, Keith out did an amazing job demonstrating, how, he demonstrated very well. I'm not gonna say negative, but this is my question. So early on, Apex stated that existence is a qualifier in your argument of law of transition. Probably said it wrong. He said existence is a qualifier and that particulars and universals do not differ, right? So this is my question. If existence is only a qualifier, then what makes something real rather than just an ideal? That's my question.
Right. Thank you so much.
Forgive me.
Apex, go ahead and answer, and then
Yeah. You said nothing right in what you said. Everything you said is wrong. I never said existence is a qualifier. I said existence is a quantifier. And you just said that I said there's no difference between a particular and a universal. I do not agree with that. Never did I say that. You guys can't try. Why do you come up and embarrass the shit out of yourself? So there is a difference. I've explained the difference, right? One essentially is the type, close to what a type is, and the other one's just the instantiation of it, right? It's not a type, but it's close, right? What makes something it really exist versus not? I don't even know. I didn't even understand the last question. Like, really ideal, the question didn't even make sense. So when you come up, make sure you know what I believe and make sure your questions are cohesive and coherent. Q-Top, go ahead, bro. Existence is a qualifier, right?
Before Q-Top, go, Darren, do you want to turn the comments back on? You're muted, bro. Yo, we can't hear you, bro. You're speaking.
We can't hear you, Duran, brother. You're I think you're muted.
Yeah,
brother.
I got you. Okay. Yeah, we can turn the comments back on, but we got to be respectful in the comments, you guys.
All right.
I don't want to get flagged again, so please keep it respectful as you possibly.
All right, Q-Top, go. You just turned it off again. But yeah, Q-Top, go ahead, man.
Hey, turn it back on, you guys.
So, to Islamic Apex's point, I am definitely being intellectually genuine in this dialogue. That's not exactly what he said, but Banku, I'll answer the question that you asked because I do understand what you're saying. When we talk about universals and particulars, right? The particulars, each particular would be essentially distinct as it participates in existence differently. Right. And so I think that that was the crux of the conversation, because when it comes to God, right, God being that he is existence itself, that cannot be divisible. Meaning the essence, existence cannot be divisible. So we're not saying that there are three things that are essentially distinct. We're saying that there's one thing that is essential, and there's three relational distinctions within that one thing. And so I think I understand. I don't know if that's what you're asking, but again, to Islamic Apex point, that's not what he was saying. That was our big contention.
All right. I'll bring up a Muslim now, Enes, to tell me who you want.
Tell me who's requesting.
Yeah, I'm checking. There's Mergani, Ibn Mustafa. I don't know what that is. Let's see. Danny, Dawa, Itachi.
Bring up Itachi for now.
There's also Metaphysics Mike too, if you want to bring him up. I'll bring up Itachi.
Bring up Itachi first.
All right. Let me bring up Itachi.
Yo, assalamu alaikum, can you hear me?
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Yeah, so Q-Top, essentially you asserted that this is just a qualifier, but you had asserted that because we don't share in the same existence, that we essentially have different essences, right, as humans.
Is that just like a yes or no? Like
It's a qualifier.
I don't
I have my
understand.
question.
Okay,
Yeah, so yes
let
or
me
no,
just.
it's just a qualifier.
Tashi, is that your question, or you want to qualify?
No, that's a qualifier, yeah.
She just wants to qualify.
I'm making sure that I'm
Wait, is
representing them
this
correctly.
like a series of questions or one?
Yeah,
like
we,
every-
It's one question. I just want to make sure I
So
represent you
we,
correctly.
we agreed on one qualifier if needed and a question. So
got it.
go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so if your qualifier is we are essentially distinct because we participate in existence differently, that is correct.
Okay, beautiful. So, regarding classical metaphysics, Aquinas, he defines humanity in regards to the quidditas shared by all humans, which is the what isness. So my question to you is going to be, if humanity is the shared universal among particular humans, wouldn't denying a shared essence entail that each human is both their own universal and their own particular?
No, it wouldn't entail that because existence would be indivisible, but the humanity being the universal is divisible. So when we talk about particulars, all we're saying is that a particular is a specific instance of a universal. So that actually wouldn't apply. No.
All right. And
Jonathan, did you want to say something on that? Wait,
I definitely want to answer that.
Faith, thank you so much for the gift.
Itachi, thank you for the great question. Yeah, all you guys heard was sorcery right there. Humans are not identical to existence. That has nothing, zero to do with the question, right? So, Itachi, that's a good question. Aquinas does say that the universal of humanity is shared by the particulars, which are the humans. And that makes it the case that they all share the same essence, right? Because they are all humans, they all share the same essence due to the fact, because you said Kuratosh, right? That is what Aquinas is saying. Q-Top is just gibberating black magic. Literally. But Godson, go ahead and ask your question, bro.
Yo, good debate, guys. I just came up here quickly. First and foremost, I have a qualifier, I guess, for Anas. When you defined person, I think it was that which can be referred to. Is that correct?
No, it's that which that can be addressed to, but there's other definitions of person, such as like anything that which has a rational substance, or anything that has a rational mind.
Okay. That's pretty much all I was coming up to ask, because I think I heard referred to. I didn't know you said like that which could.
Hey, you want to replace the question?
You want to replace the question?
You're gonna ask.
No. That's what I want to ask.
We'll get someone else then.
Someone else.
We gotta get an actual question, guys.
All right. If I think you want to bring Yakovos.
Let's see.
If you want to bring Yakovos, you could bring him. See
Who's Yakovos? Let me see.
I mean, a lot of Christians want him in the comments. I'm just seeing it.
Let's do Coptic Prince.
Coptic Prince? All right.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, let me see. I don't know. It's jumping around, you guys. Did he drop down? He probably dropped. Did he drop down? All right. Yeah, hey. Let me see what we got, man. Yeah, I don't know. He just dropped. So let's do. There you go.
Oh my God.
God bless Q-Tops. I need a qualifier from Anas. Anas, is love in its very nature requires a relationship for it to be demonstrated?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the question. If God is truly love, according to the Christian paradigm in his nature, in his eternal nature, before creation, who was he loving? Was his love only potential until he created something? And who did he demonstrate his love to? Go ahead. And don't laugh. Go ahead.
Wallahi, it's hard to control myself. Wallahi, that's crazy, bro. Your question, being who did God love before creation? If you're talking about the Christian perspective, the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, they're like a circle. They love each other. Okay, cool. That's your belief, right? And Islam is completely different. I hope you're not talking about Islam, because you can ask that question for the next debate, right? So who does Allah love before creation? Yeah, that can come next debate. Okay, that's not this debate. All right. So I just answered you in respect to the Trinity. So I knew it was gonna be a low tier question.
Okay, I'll answer that. Yeah. So really, really good question, man. Now to Islamic Apex's point, again, this is a Trinitarian debate, but I think how this relates, if you're asking it in relation to the Trinity, is yeah, we would actually have a justification for love, meaning that the Father has always loved the Son, right? The Son is what is loved, and the Holy Spirit is the act of love that unites the Father and the Son. So we actually have a relational community. We don't have this like narcissistic God who exists as one person who's just been loving himself, and then he changed when he actually started loving the creation. We actually can ground love as being relational. So it's very, very relevant. Thank you for the question, dude.
All right.
One second. Why are you insulting?
Wait.
No, one second.
Hold up.
Hold on.
He's insulting my God by saying my God's narcissistic.
Hold on.
Let's try to keep it.
Oh, is that okay? I mean, that's good.
But let's not do that.
Oh, come on, man.
Yo, there, one sec. To be fair, Enes, I'm not gonna lie, you did say something about the Christian God earlier.
Thank you.
So I'm just being fair, but I know we shouldn't insult
Right.
at all. Not Enes, not Q-Top. To be fair, Enes, you did insult earlier. So all right, so now he insulted, you insulted.
That's
now,
it. Both of y'all.
Insult. Yeah, it's better that we don't insult. All right, let's bring up a Muslim now, or a Unitarian, I guess. There is.
Wait, is Danny requesting?
Yeah, Danny is requesting. I'll bring him up.
Okay, bring up Danny.
Yeah, so what I want to just say this as a disclaimer. This individual said that I doxed him, but then yet he wants to have a conversation with me. So he said he would not have So Danny, just before you ask your question, or do you actually want to have conversations with me, or do you not want to talk to me because I supposedly doxed you? Answer that.
I'm gonna ask you a question.
Wait. So why did you say one second? No, this is very important. This is very important because this individual said that he would never talk to me on a public platform because he accused me of doxing him. But then yet he wants to talk to me now. So I just want to say, Danny, you're a hypocrite and you're a coward.
All right, let Danny, don't even respond to that. Just
all right, I'm not worried about that. Anyways, so the qualifier is is it that there's one God despite there being three persons because they're homoousia, and that there's not one human because the human persons are not homoousia? Is that your position?
I don't know what any of that means. You're gonna have to repeat that.
Is there? You said to Anas that there's one God because they're the three, even though there's three persons, in virtue of them being the same essence, homoousia, right?
Yeah, there's three relational distinctions, one essence. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So how is it that you're contradicting Chalcedon when Chalcedon says, "quote Our Lord Jesus Christ, the same perfect in Godhead and also perfect in manhood, truly God and truly man, of a rational soul and body, co-essential with the Father according to God, and co-essential, the Greek word being homoousia, with us according to the manhood." Right. So if Jesus is homoousia with humans, right, how are we not homoousia with each other?
Yeah, so it seems like this is just a very low tier blunder of what the hypostatic union is. We believe that the person of Christ possesses two natures. Those natures are distinct but inseparable. So the person of Christ possesses a divine nature and a human nature. Because the Father begats the Son, substance begets substance. And so God, being as possessed by the relational distinction of the Son, would just simply just be the case that he took on a human nature. So the person of Christ, the divine nature doesn't change, but the divine nature takes on a human nature, right? So we don't say that like that Jesus is like it's like two persons, right? We say that, look, this eternal divine person called the Son took on a human nature, and those natures are inseparable but distinct in the person. This is really low tier.
All right.
And thank you for actually having. And by the way, I'm done. And thank you for actually talking to me, dude, because you've been saying you don't want to talk to me online, but then you just want to come up and ask a question. But apparently,
All right, Q.
All right, Anas, go for it.
I got you.
All right. He didn't answer the question. Surprise, right? So remember his question, guys. In Chalcedon, when it says that Jesus' human nature is co-essential with us, how are we not homoousia? Never was that question answered. Ever. He addressed something else. His Harry Potter metaphysics, he addressed that. He didn't actually address what was asked, right? So in Chalcedon, it is written that us humans, we are coessential with Jesus Christ's human nature. With that being said, and the word there used is homoousia, as Danny pointed out, which you didn't answer, which I didn't think you would because you got baked. So yes, according to Chalcedon, which is contradicting Q-Top, he's never read it before, we would be one essence exactly due to the fact that Chalcedon says that we are coessential with Jesus' human nature. Simple as that. No Harry Potter. I spoke English there, guys. You guys understand? Go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much. 3 or 1, bro. If you want to clarify, go ahead and then ask your question.
Hallelujah, holy homies, holy fire, drunkios. So I wanted my clarifying question. I just wanted to know from the Islamic paradigm, generally speaking, are the 99 attributes that are listed as Allah's names, are these attributes necessary or essential to his being? That's my clarifying question before I make the next one.
Is that a qualifier or a question, bro?
That's a qualifier. I wanted to know that first.
Bro, are we talking about Tawheed, bro?
No. I just asked very simple.
So what are you doing?
No. Hey, listen.
No. This is the same as him asking what's your favorite
Guys,
why are you getting so frantic? Calm down.
I'm the mod.
And respect.
Hey, hold on, guys.
I'm the mod. I'll take care of it. 3 or 1. You're free to ask whatever you want. If it's not on topic, we're gonna see if Islamic Apex wants to address it. So, Enes, do you want to address it?
I'll address it. I'll address it.
All
I'll
right,
address
cool.
it.
All right, cool.
First
So
thing,
it's
we
not
don't
on
believe
topic,
God.
but he'll address it. 3 or 1. You ask your clarifier. Now ask your question. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna answer real quick. So my qualifier, the answer to the qualifier is that we don't even believe that God necessarily has 99 properties. We believe he has more. He just hasn't revealed it to us, right? Do we believe that all properties to God are essential or necessary, which means the same thing, by the way, in this context? The answer is no. Not all of God's properties are essential, right? The only ones that are essential are the ones that God has had eternally. For example, the Quran. That's not eternal. God chose to speak the Quran. Therefore, the Quran is going to be an accident. It's non-essential. God did not need to speak the Quran. All right? So the answer is yes, all the eternal ones are necessary. And no, the temporal, uncreated ones are accidents and non-essential. What's your question, bro, now? What's your question?
Wow, holy homies, holy fire. I really don't need to ask the next one. I don't think you know.
Wait, can I say something?
Well, I got you. Well,
Yeah, he has to ask his question first.
I thought that was
That was a qualifier, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 or 1. Do you have a question or?
hey, I'm gonna ask my. Wow, that was okay. No problem. Can God necessarily exist in a potential necessity or potential state without being considered contingent? That's my question.
Kick this guy down.
No,
I'm not even gonna answer that.
We can't.
No, bro. Just kick this guy down. Hey,
Do you understand this question first? Wait.
Kick him down. Kick him
As long
down.
as you understand this question.
By the way, I didn't kick anyone down.
Khalas.
That's okay.
Hey,
That's okay.
Yeah.
Listen. I'm gonna be clear. Look. I'm gonna respond.
Right.
Wallahi, uqsum billah. No one in this life, okay, including this guy, understood what the hell he just asked. He might pretend he knows, but no one genuinely understood what he asked. But I'm gonna answer it anyway. I think he's trying to ask, can God be in potentiality? According to my belief, no, because I hold that God is creating eternally, meaning that I believe in ex materia, that there has not been a point where God has not been creating. He's constantly creating and destroying. Q-Top, go ahead and act like you understood his question, which I know you will, and start your Harry Potter metaphysics. Go ahead.
Yeah, guys. So a lot of this debate has been gaslighting. If you notice, I haven't gaslight my opponent. I've tried to be as respectful as possible. I actually did understand what he was saying. He was actually talking about Allah's attribute set. And that attribute set, it is either necessary by essentiality or it is necessary by relation, by a real distinction, right? So not all real distinctions are essential, but all essential distinctions are real. So all he's saying is that, look, if you claim that Allah is actually pure act, right, and there's no contingency in God, right? If you make that assertion, but you also claim that Allah's attributes are distinct from his essence, right? Which means now Allah is composite. These things are actually essentially distinct in Allah, right? You're going to run into a problem of metaphysics because now you have a God that is contingent. You don't have a God that is pure act. You don't have a God that is necessary, because to be pure act means that your existence is identical to your essence. So I actually did understand what he was saying, and I really would appreciate if you stop gaslighting, dude, because I haven't done that to you one time in this discourse.
All right. So I just want to update. We have so far four questions asked on the Christian side, 3 questions asked so far on the Muslim side. This upcoming one will be the 4th one on the Muslim side. So let me just check. Let's see. We got.
Hey, Lynn, how many questions are we doing on each side?
So we're doing 5.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, we're doing 5. So Enes, there's I am Moses.
I think Tiger's requesting. I would like Tiger to come up. Can I pick some people? I haven't picked anyone.
Yeah, bro. If you see somebody, hey, but next, we got one more.
Next. Yeah, that's next.
Wait.
So I got metaphysics, Mike. I got metaphysics.
You gotta
Mike,
bring up. Hold on, I gotta drop it back down. Hold on, Q.
All right.
One at a time.
I got Khair. You want Khair?
Well, wait, just name everyone in the list.
Metaphysics, Mike. The people that I know personally, Khair.
I want Golden Apologetics to come up.
Okay. One at a time, my brother.
Okay, Orthodox. Listen.
Yeah.
Bring up Mike, and then bring up Khair as my last guest.
All right.
Yeah, for my 2 people, I want Tiger and I want what's his name?
All right. So
and I want Golden Apologetics.
All right. Metaphysics, Mike. Ask a qualifier if you need, and then ask a question. Go ahead.
Okay. So, hey, Q-Top. So it seems like your position depends upon this creator-creature distinction, so that you can reject this classical counting method. So my question, as a believer in the Bible, Romans 1:20 says, "For God's invisible attributes, even his eternal power and divine nature, are clearly seen from the creation of the world in the things that God has made." So my question is, if God's invisible attributes are clearly perceived in creations, like Romans says, then how can the creator-creature distinction be used to forbid true knowledge or description of God's nature by which you even count one God?
Okay, so there's a loaded there's a loaded proposition that you put in there. I don't reject classical identity. I think it's categorically dependent. I don't reject absolute identity. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, in Romans 1, when it says that the things that have been made have been clearly perceived, it says that the divine attribute or the divine essence has made himself known very clearly, and the things that have been made so without excuse. All that essentially means is that the creation itself is bearing witness to the glory of God. That the trees, the birds, the sky, the sun, the stars, all these things are a revelation of God. That does not mean that there's not a creator-creature distinction in how we actually would count these personal relations in the Trinity. That those are like 2 disanalogous things that you just brought up.
All right. Do you have anything to say on that or not?
Not really much, but Metaphysics Mike, it's clear that he meant that you reject classical identity insofar as, applying that to God. That's specifically what he meant. He didn't mean that you categorically reject it and say, hey, this is wrong. But that's what he meant. But no, I don't really care about the Bible.
All right. All right. So we got one more question on each. So Tiger will go. Then we got a Muslim. Then it's Rob's. Tiger, if you need a clarifier, go ahead and then ask your question.
I don't know why you're godding. You're not that important for me to make fun of you.
What do you want, bro?
The question, sis, the question that I have to ask you is, the clarifier is, would you say that Allah's will or personhood would be existent in the same way that human beings is?
We're talking about Tawheed now?
No, we're still
We're not. So we're asking an off-topic question again.
Can you answer my question, please? I'm asking you a clarifying question. Could you answer it?
But it's a clarifier to an off-topic question.
Could
So
you
I didn't.
answer my
One second,
question?
Tiger.
Oh
Will the
my,
question
what,
be?
bro? Can you give a
Enes,
different guess?
The question would be within Trinity, but he
Okay,
just
good.
doesn't
So
want to
ask.
answer.
So answer her
If he don't answer my
clarifier.
question.
Okay, okay. You said is Allah's. What was your question? Is Allah's will existent?
When we're talking about Allah's will or personhood, would you say it exists in the same way that human beings do?
That's gibberish. We don't even say what. Like, dude,
If
please
you're
stop with
talking
that. I'm about
about
to
any
answer you. I'm about to
attribute,
answer you. I'm about to,
okay,
you don't even know what you're saying. I'm about to tell you
okay.
exactly. Listen, does Allah's personhood exist like humans and His will? What the fuck does that even mean, bro?
So I'm
What
going
does
to
that mean?
clarify the question again
Hey,
since you
Tiger,
said you're
I don't want. I
answering.
don't. Yes, please,
So,
because that didn't make any sense.
I can't lie. I can't lie. You need to stop being emotional. It's not that deep. I'm going to ask you again. When it comes to the attributes of Allah, meaning His will, or when we're applying anything to Allah, would this be similar to creation? Yes or no?
That's a better question. We don't say the properties of God exist like us. No.
Okay. So what would be the problem when we say that God's personhood is different to human beings' personhood? That's the question now.
Dude,
And I'll go down. Thank you.
Yeah, get her up out of here, bro. Yeah, so to address your question, yeah, we don't see a problem with you specifically and merely saying that God's personhood and human's person is different, even though that's just like retardation. I'm sorry. We don't say that God's personhood and human's personhood having a difference.
Remember, don't say anything that's going to get the
Bro, Darren, did you hear her question, bro?
I do. I thought it was a great question, actually. Oh. But don't be careful of the words.
You guys have the same problem, man.
We got flagged once.
Okay,
Enes, just without.
I'm almost done, bro. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. I'm almost done, bro. She's okay. I'm almost done. Personhood, whatever that means. No, we don't have a problem with you saying that God's personhood is this, and it's different than human. We have a problem with you counting different when it comes to God. We're counting God versus counting everything around you. Just go ahead, bro.
I want to start this off by saying character is very important. We're both claiming to believe in God, and I'm trying to represent myself the best that I can. I would never call someone out of their name like that. So yeah, I think the question that Tiger raised was very, very, very important. And it highlights actually what they believe in their Tawheed, that Allah is unlike the creation. And so being that God is unlike the creation, if I say, well, look, we can't apply these categorical standards of the creation within these counting methods and apply that as in the same way to God, that just wouldn't follow. And so because God is unlike the creation, the counting methods that we apply to the creation, we would not apply it in the same way to God. It's not mean we do not accept those counting methods, but it means that when that is actually applied to God, meaning one substance, one uncia, one in nature, we do not apply these same absolute identical categories, conflating essence and personal relation. So it's a very good question, considering that God is nothing like the creation.
Thank you so much. All right, we got last question. Let's make it quick. I gotta get going. From the Muslim side, let's see. You wanted Khair, right? All right. Oh, I brought Yaakov by accident. All right. Got him up. All right. Khair, go ahead. Ask a clarifier if you need, and then ask a question.
Okay. Can I, just before I ask the question, is it possible to set out prerequisites or no? To ask clarifying questions before asking the main question.
Just one clarifier, bro.
One clarifier. Okay. Fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So since given that you laughed at the idea that there might be some contingency in a necessary being, would you say that, for example, that an actus purus, right, when it comes to the Trinity, when you have the hypostases, the three hypostases, the second hypostasis, you would posit that within the second hypostasis, that meaning Jesus, right, you would say that Jesus is caused by the Father. You would agree with that? Keep up.
Oh, you're asking me? Oh, what
Yeah.
you? I thought. Okay, I zoned out. What'd you
He
say?
said, do you agree that
I zoned
Jesus
out.
is caused by the Father?
I'm getting bored. But by cause, I don't know what causation mean in that context. If you just mean like eternally generated or like eternally begotten of, yeah. Causation is a temporal word.
Right. Like, would you say that the Father is the principle that,
I'm
generates?
not a monarchical Trinitarian. I believe that they are united in one essence. I'm a Western Trinitarian.
Okay. When you
Is that your
say,
clarifying
let
question?
me,
Because now you're asking a series of clarifying
no, no,
questions.
it's just the same clarifying question. I just want to know what do you mean by the begotten, that the second
It
hypostasis?
comes from the Father's essence.
Okay. So that coming forth,
So
would you
okay,
categorize as that?
this is the question now, eh?
This is the question. Okay,
Yeah,
this
this
is
is the
the
question.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So when you say bringing about or bringing forth, right, it would either have to fall into material cause, formal cause, or some form of final cause, some type of like remote or approximate cause, right? One of you would have to deal with one of it, whether you like it or not. There's no other way to say coming about or coming forth. Now, given that, would if you're gonna submit or try to say one of those, if you I'll give this the material cause. You would have to state that it is actually something that which has a material that is substantiated from because it's actualized, right? Even if you were to say that it's actus purus or whatever. Now, if you were to say formal cause, right, you would fall. I don't
Yo,
know
hey,
why you're
you
shaking
gotta
your
ask
head.
the
I'm
Now,
question.
where's
asking a
the
question.
question? Like,
I'm
where's the
gonna ask a
question?
question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you gotta
I'm
ask the
just stating
question.
my thing and then asking the question at the, or you could just answer it.
Just
So you
ask the
would,
question,
no
dude.
problem, no problem. I'll ask the question. So you would be when you say coming forth, right, or coming about, you'd have to submit to either one of these things that I mentioned from before, right? So which one is it? Otherwise, you don't have any begotten son.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a claim that will require justification. In the Christian context, when we say that the Son is begotten, all we mean is that the Son comes forth from the Father's essence. When we say that the Spirit is spirating, all we mean is that the Spirit comes forth from the Father and the Son's essence. So this is just like some weird blunder. You need to actually clarify the terms that you're meaning, because I think that all those like philosophical terms that you reference have a semantic domain which is categorically dependent. So it depends upon how you reference that. I'm a Western Trinitarian, so we don't hold that the Father is this like monarch. We hold that the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit are identical in substance. So they are unified in substance. And the Son proceeds from the Father. The Son is begotten, not made, co-eternal of one substance with the Father.
All right, Anas, go for it. This is the last word, and we're done for the night. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the brother, he made a good point. Q-Top didn't tell us what type of cause again. So Aristotle, he mentions 4 different types of causes in order to say that this thing is caused. He mentions efficient cause, he mentions a material cause. There's 4 different causes, okay? And Q-Top, you were not able to bring us one of the 4. Therefore, we are going to say that you don't have any justification to say that the Father actually begot anything if you cannot identify what type of cause, right? And causation is not necessarily something that is temporal. Literally, classical theism is something that disagrees with this, and you're a classical theist. That's embarrassing. But that'll be it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for having us up. Duran, appreciate you, bro. You're a cool guy. Q-Top, good debate. The Orthodox Muslim man. Thank
Hey,
you, bro.
before you drop down, bro, before y'all drop down, dang, I wanted to just give them a big shout out, you guys. Hold on, chat, real quick before y'all drop down. Let me just give a big shout out to both of these young individuals, man. They are very, very, very bright in the way they just know how to get that information out there. So I just want to give all my love to Apex, man, because I know he's extremely intelligent. I mean, I have nothing but respect.
Darren, you gotta give me credit for the good
Hey,
moderation.
I got you. Hey, I got you, bro. I'm gonna get to you.
Duran, would you mind, and I'll ask Orthodox Muslim, given that he did give the conclusion, right? So he gave the final statement, and given that he just also gave the ending with the like question there, can I respond back to what he just said? Like
quickly,
bro, it's you guys is live now. You could
go ahead.
Okay, I want to ask. I don't want to do anything that's not
the debate is over.
It's over. Yeah, it's over. You definitely can. I just want before they started dropping down, I just wanted to just give a shout out because you a boss. I think everybody saw Q-Top is an absolute beast. And let me tell you something about Apex, you guys. He's on another level. That's
So
tough.
much
That's
love.
tough. Yeah, but real quick, let me just, I know he's probably dropped down already, but I just want to give my love to Apex, man. He is one of the most brightest individuals. You know, considering that, you know, we are on opposite ends of theology, all my love goes to Apex. He is a bright individual. And big ups, you guys show some love to Orthodox Muslim man for hosting that equitably. I had no issue. I didn't have to, the brother, he did that. He did his thing, man. So big dubs in the chat. Big dubs in the chat.
Hey, so I just want to say something before it drops. Next time, no Christian can say Orthodox Muslim is not fair. I'm as fair as it gets.
Hey, you got it. You did your thing, bro. You did your
Orthodox,
thing.
I want to say this, brother. I'm gonna drop you a follow. Yeah, dude, you really were, I think, as fair as possible. I really saw he was fair when like I made a remark about Allah. I wasn't trying to be like, you know, disingenuous. And then you said, "Hey, man, you know, you said some stuff too." Like that. That is how you moderate a debate. So I really,
I don't
really
know why I got dropped. But...
Come on, Apex. Oh, I thought you dropped down.
Well, I just want to say, Darren, thank you, man. I'm looking forward for our talk soon. Thank you, everybody who participated. I'm out of here, man. Thank you so much.
God bless.
Come on, bro.
Can I just
Appreciate you,
briefly
bro.
respond? Can I briefly just like respond to what you just?
Where the
Yes.
Go ahead.
So he's talking about Aristotle's causation. I would have to like semantically unpack what all those terms actually mean. I'm just logically and conceptually describing what we actually mean when we say that the Son is begotten, right? We don't really use this word cause, which I found very interesting. I don't know why they kept using that term cause. What we say is that the Son is eternally generated, meaning that he eternally comes from the Father's essence. He is eternally from the Father's essence. The Spirit eternally comes from the Father and the Son's essence. So I don't understand the language of like causation there. And again, I feel that if you're going to bring up like these things, like, well, look, you have to say that it's either this or that and the third. You're going to have to justify like why that's necessary. You can't put me in a box and say that I have to hold to this form of causation if you don't explain why I must necessarily hold to that. So I think that was very disingenuous. And again, I just want to clear up what we mean when we say that the Son is begotten of the Father. Thank you, guys.